Good evening, everyone. My name is George. This show is Don't Panic Flip, and tonight I have two wonderful guests. We have Joe Hills, and we have I Only Seek Eurydice. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Don't Panic Flip, the only pinball show that Billy Mays said was too good of a deal to do a commercial for.
Okay. I don't know who Billy Mays is.
Isn't he the guy from King of Kong? He's doing Pac-Man stuff now.
Queen Dark Lady, good evening.
Wait, is Billy Mays the guy that I feel like I'm going to say something awful here, but is he the guy that cheated?
No.
Okay. Who is that?
Billy Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell, thank you. Okay. Because when you said Billy Mays, I was thinking like Billy Mays Hayes or Billy Hayes Mays from Hi I Ski-Doo. Hey Queen Dark Lady. From what was the name of that? Major League. I don't know if you guys ever saw that very old movie now that I think of it.
Yeah. Hey, I Ski-Doo. Did you know that George doesn't know who Billy Mays is?
I do not know Billy Mays, but it's infomercials.
Tracy from Outer Spacey.
Hey, Tracy. That's the ShamWow guy? Okay. I do know that, well, I only know of the ShamWow guy from all of the people who've tried to imitate the ShamWow guy. Oh, that was Vince.
That was Vince Offer?
Okay.
Yeah, Vince was another one.
I just remembered, I had music all set to go for this stream. I'm going to throw it on and see if that plays in the background. Make sure the volume is turned down a little bit. Sir Snarf. Holy haircut, Batman. Yeah, that is tight. I said take it up to the top.
Got some Macklemore vibes going on.
I went with System of a Down Essentials.
No,
I don't know what
your hair.
Oh, Macklemore. I don't know what Macklemore looks like.
All you need is a big furry coat. You'll be looking very Macklemore.
I can fix that. Hold on. I've got this.
Whoa. I guess we're doing a cosplay stream.
People living in Colorado have big furry coats. Who knew?
Yeah, right? We have that, and I can't. Okay. Nope, now it's all jammed up and awkward. Wow, that was supposed to be way cooler. There we go. Boom. It's furry on the inside. It's very, very comfortable. Now, am I pulling off Macklemore?
Kinda.
Is Macklemore the poppin' tags guy?
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket.
Wait, how dare you comply with the... Oh, that's Sir Snarf. So, that goes immediately... It's got to be the first discussion topic for tonight, right? And by the way, that is way too warm. That is actually a warm jacket. It's the first time I think I've ever owned a warm jacket. Silly aside, but when I became old enough, because my parents told me that I couldn't own a leather jacket until I was stopped growing, since then I've basically I've bought maybe 3 leather jackets, and I just have had those leather jackets. And I realized after about 20 years in Colorado that it gets cold, and that leather jackets don't typically, unless they have some sort of interesting interior, actually stop the cold from seeping in. So this is the first year I got a different jacket.
Nice. So, George, the way I handled that is that my leather jackets are designed to have like a hoodie layer underneath, right? So they're a little bit loose, but that's okay because I got that extra layer of insulation.
Because you do? Okay, no. I got something for this too. I did 2 things this time around with my leather jackets. See, I tried on about 15 of these, which is these like poofy vest things with down in them. So then I can, now under my leather jackets, as I'm making my way around, I wear a vest. Also, I don't know if you know this, snakes don't wear vests because they don't have arms.
Tenzin Pirates rating was 60 AU. People Piapple.
Well, I've actually got a down vest from Patagonia too. The thing I like about it is that it's designed so you can pull the entire vest into one of the pockets and zip it up and use it as a camping pillow.
What?
And so you go from having a down vest to having a down pillow.
Wow.
It's perfect night and day. Like, they're not paying me to promote this, but I saw you already had a Patagonia thing on your stream. So, like, I'm just going to say, like, I'm at the point in my life where I'm trying not to spend money on stuff I'm going to have to replace in the next 3 years anymore. I'm only trying to buy things if I know it's going to last for, like, 10 years. And, like, the stuff that they make, if I need it, I know it's going to be good and I know it's going to last.
Okay. Also, Pins and Pirates, and I know Dice already did the call-up, but thank you very much. My hat's off to you. And Pins and Pirates, what were you streaming this evening? And thank you very much for the raid. If you're just joining us, really quick, I'll show it off. This is what we'll be playing tonight. That's right, we'll be playing some Iron Maiden. We played this, we snuck in a stream on Saturday this weekend, and we ran into some issues with the mummy diverter up on the top of the left ramp. And lo and behold, Man Adams, whom did the trade with me as my Godzilla Eye of Iron Maiden, called me up. He's like, hey, I saw you had some issues. I have some thoughts about about how we can fix that. And he's like, I think what's happening is, and I checked out the mechanic on this. The mechanic is awesome. It is a rotating servo that moves it up and down. And it has two switches at the top and at the bottom to know when it hits the top and then when it hits the bottom. And the second one, the metal was bent in such a way to where it wasn't actually triggering the bottom switch. So hey, Dice.
Hi, George.
It was losing its place. And that was totally from Man Adams, who just had this idea. Is like, I think it's getting lost. You might want to check the switch. So ran through everything, was able to fix it. It's awesome. It should be functional for this evening. And I totally spaced. Oh, no. Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought there. There was a whole bunch of notifications that came through, and I have no idea what I was about to say after that. But that was going to lead into something. It was a perfect segue into like a follow-up conversation and discussion.
You were going to tell us what you're drinking tonight.
There we go. That works. That's obviously where I was going next with this one. So this is a Cuban mojito. Is the camera panning faster than normal? I've got it set, Jedi McMuffin, at a 10 right now. So this is the standard, but rather than moving kind of like angled, it's moving back and forth. Also, I do have autofocus set right now. So that's what I'm drinking, a Cuban mojito. Gentlemen, what are you drinking this evening, if anything?
Mango margarita.
Wow, y'all are fancy. I got some George Dickel whiskey from Tullahoma, Tennessee, with a block of ice in it. So it turns out you can go to Target, which is what the French call Target, and you can buy like a $1 like ice cube tray that's just these like 1.5 by 1.5 inch cubes, and I found that those melt just at the right speed for, you drop it in a glass of whiskey and you're good. So I'm drinking whiskey and water, but fancy frozen water in a cubicle configuration.
Okay. I like that, fancy frozen water. I also, sorry, when you say that, is it actually a large cube?
Yeah. It's so like if you think about like a normal ice cube tray would have like 12 cubes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is just like 6 really big cubes.
That's the way to do it. I actually prefer that. I see that happen at like higher end bars where they give you, if you ask for whiskey on the rocks, they bring out a single large ice cube, and it just, I'm assuming for reasons that make sense, that ice cube lasts a lot longer because it's larger.
Well, it has to do with the surface area to volume ratio, George. And
I knew it was like something like that.
Like everything at a big fancy bar, though, you could buy a $2 ice cube tray and just be set for life at home. It's a real treat when you go out and see that. But then when you have people over, like for example, if you happen to come by my apartment sometime in March to pick up this Guardians of the Galaxy machine, I could serve you some whiskey on the rocks with a really big rock. And you'll be like, what an exceptionally large crystalline lattice of water, And
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, that's a weird way to say that, but fine.
Okay. And speaking about that, I definitely want to come out in early March. In fact, I was just talking to my brother in South Carolina, and I know we had talked about potentially the second week of March, but I need to get with you because the first week of March just opened up. And I know that you had some other stuff going on, so we've got to figure that out.
So the thing about the first week of March, George, is in some ways that's even better because Mr. Hardluck, who is in chat right now, and a bunch of other people are
Hi,
going to be
Mr.
here the
Hardluck.
first week in March.
Oh, really?
Really, for Tennessee Game Days, which is a board gaming convention run by some of my former coworkers. They're great guys. I've known them like 12 years, like super cool people. The convention's a little bit outside of town, and so I've got a hotel booked. But like in terms of like, I could drive a half hour or so to get back to my apartment, do the stream with you out of here, get the pinball machine loaded and unloaded. And honestly, I had said you could stay at my place overnight if you need to. If you wanted to come to the convention, I think my room has two queen beds. I'm not sure. You might be able to just crash there if you had to. But there'd be a lot more moving parts, is the thing.
Okay. I'm pretty much game for whatever because I'm then Sunday going to drive. It's like 7 hours or 8 hours to go to South Carolina. And then I'm going to spend the week with my brother out there and just work from his place. So I don't really care. And on top of that, Joe, Turtles is behaving wonderfully. So if you want, we've got TNA, Turtles, or Tron. I think would be the three options I have available for you right now.
I mean, I gotta say, I've had a lot of fun playing Turtles on location at Game Terminal and Total Nuclear Annihilation as well. But my daughter, the first time she saw Total Nuclear Annihilation on stream, she was just shocked at how beautiful it was, just awed by it. And she was like, this is why you watch these pinball streams. It had never made sense to her before, but just watching the colors and listening to the music and seeing the machine, she was just like, I get it now. So, like, when I mentioned, I was like, don't get too excited. This is one of the options. Now, if that doesn't happen, Turtles is a possibility too. We would both be fine with either, but, like, if we could get TNA, I would love to have TNA here.
Done. You will have TNA at your house. Cool.
George, you are a saint.
Awesome.
You.
Right? Yeah, Sir Snarf, Scott Denisi. You can't go wrong. The music's amazing. The light show's awesome. The theme is great. It's a powerful female character. Elago, subscribing at tier 1. I just love to position myself right there. That's perfect. Nope, this side. There it is. The lights, yeah. Tracy wants to blow some stuff up. I know. The second place Andy. That was it lines up really well. The sound pulls you in. It's just a great game in general. Now, Dice, do you own an Iron Maiden?
I did at one point. I no longer do.
Okay. How comfortable or familiar with the rules are you?
At one point, I was relatively familiar. Now, not so much.
All right. We're gonna start, and even if we're wrong, it's fine. I'm just gonna roll with it. Whatever you say, I'm gonna point to, and that's going to be the rules and how we do this right now. So, Dice, you want to start us? Sorry, shoot the lit shots. Boom. So we've got this shot here. That's a lit shot.
Yeah, Andy, I was just here lurking in the background. These guys were flowing so good, I didn't want to come in and like.
We've got that shot, the middle shot, we've got the right ramp and the right orbit, plus the inner loop. All of those are lit. Now, Dice, those are lit white. What specifically am I trying to achieve by hitting those lit white shots initially?
Sorry, I'm legit trying to catch up here. Twitch was buffering. Hey, Sandman.
Oh, no worries. Sandman, welcome to the stream. Stack Trooper in song mode, go far in Trooper. Stack Cyborg in song mode, go far in Cyborg, says Sandman. Okay? There's a lot of steps to get to those, and we're going to get there. Ooh, yes, Tracy Tracy, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I feel like that's the first break conversation. And Joe Hills, did you know that Weird Al, the pinball machine from P3, was announced earlier today?
I saw that, and I saw that Scott Denisi was talking about helping with the sound package on that in one of the Discords I'm in. So, yeah, I am pretty excited about that. I haven't gotten to play a P3 yet, although, humorously enough, when we had the Godzilla in my apartment, because Fliptronic and Bex were here, they had 2 P3s in their trailer behind the Godzilla machine, but we just didn't want to unload 2 machines, right?
Right.
I've never actually gotten to play a P3, but I've had one like outside my apartment sitting in a trailer overnight. So, yeah,
the opportunity was there, and it was very close, but ended up not happening, it sounds like.
Didn't happen, but that Godzilla was fantastic, so, that's fine. But, like, it's one of those things. I love Weird Al. My first cassette that I purchased when I was in elementary school was Bad Hair Day, which had the parody of Gangsta's Paradise, Amish Paradise, and a bunch of other great songs on it. I have a ton of respect for Weird Al as a brilliant voice actor as well as a musician. And, I was going to say, this makes me want to buy a P3, but realistically, I can't afford a P3 right now.
P3 is a little on the expensive side, for sure.
Yeah, but this makes me want to get somewhere that has a P3. That's one of the funny things about Game Terminal is they have a huge selection of other games, but they're not really into the P3 stuff. So I got to find an arcade somewhere or a convention or a tournament or something so I can get my hands on one.
Okay.
In regards to me helping you, George, I'm going to defer to Alan.
Alan, okay.
He actually has this game. White shots to start the mode at the target, then shoot the lit shots to complete and collect the soul shard at the target at the end of the mode.
Okay. Could have been better there. I mean, I was hoping you were just going to make up rules and I would try to play those rules out. When you said you didn't really remember them, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I was just allowing the game to organically be played however you chose.
Okay, then shoot the Demogorgon.
Done.
Yeah, also, I saw a question come in from Sir Snarf if I was going to make it to TPF. I really, really want to, but my main YouTube series, the production schedule got pushed back further than I was expecting, and so I'm not especially, liquid right now, so taking an extra trip to Texas is just not in the cards this year. I was optimistic a couple months ago, but just at this point, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen, sadly.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
That's how it is when you work with other people.
I'm not especially liquid.
I actually couldn't hear that. I think, sorry, when you work with other people?
Yeah, with my YouTube series, I work with a lot of other people, and when you're trying to get 24 people's schedules to work out, sometimes stuff doesn't align, and that's just part of it, and I'm cool with it, and I move on. But, unfortunately, it means cutting things like TPF would be a fun trip for me. There's no way, I could maybe argue to the IRS that it's a tax-deductible expense, but there's no way I'm making money on a trip to TPF,
Yep.
And, so just right now, it was one of those things where I was looking at what can I afford to cut, I had to cut it.
Yep, totally makes sense. And I'm sorry, Dice, you said something as well there.
Sorry, I was reading second place Andy's question. George, serious question. Did I make a whiskey sour with egg white or a gin honey flip with egg white and egg yellow?
Ooh, I've never heard of the second thing, but that sounds wonderful. And anything with egg whites, I feel like is key.
Andy, we're going to lock in a gin honey flip.
Okay.
Because that just sounds delightful and refreshing.
Get up there. It does kind of sound very refreshing. Sorry, it was a gin, what in honey?
Gin honey flip with egg white and egg yellow.
Oh, with egg yellow. Man, I kind of want to buy egg yellows at some point because I just have egg whites and it feels like I'm missing out when I use that to make fried rice or other things.
Oh, I love fried rice.
I have fallen in love with fried rice. I have been living on rice and meat for a while now. Oh.
Did you say meat or mead?
I mean, probably both, honestly, if I'm being serious, but mostly meat and rice. So either chicken and rice, steak and rice, or what I've been eating way too much is andouille sausage and fried rice.
Oh, but it's so good.
It's so good.
Well, here's the thing, though, George. If you're at the point where you're like, I'm going to get a carton of egg white and a carton of egg yellow, you can also just buy a carton of eggs. Like, that is an option that opens up to you. When I make fried rice, I usually just use whole eggs, and it turns out pretty okay.
What are these things you speak of called whole eggs? I feel like...
Okay, so imagine an oblate spheroid that contains the ovum of a chicken, and you're about 95% there.
I like that. Sorry, Nick says... Oh, no. We're good. We're good. Hey, George.
Engineered the communications of a thing that with USB PCAP and Wireshark.
No, but I have used Wireshark a bunch, just never on USB.
And Nick only eats 2% eggs. I prefer the skim eggs myself. Although there's something to be said for the almond eggs.
Oh, Fuzzy Cord is mentioning it's a prolate spheroid, actually. And...
Okay. This was one of those things I didn't have time to check on Wikipedia. Okay, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I am not a geometer. I trade. So you know what? I got in the ballpark, which
you left Elgato there, George.
I see that. No, it's coming. It's we're getting it, and it's coming back a bunch. And then on top of that, I was so focused on that. I'm like, oh no, we lost something. I totally let it drain. That wasn't my bad playing. That was I'm blaming the streaming equipment there. And I'm sorry, did you say a geometer? A geometer? What was that? What was that word?
Yeah, I said a geometer. I mean, I don't know somebody whose job it is to do geometry, but like somebody, I guess it might be a geometrist or geomist, because a geologist studies geology.
Right.
So, nah.
No. But can I use that phrase, geometer? Like.
Okay, this is the beauty of language, George. You can really just go nuts with it. And okay, so this is one of the foundational things. If we really want to get into like how I built my YouTube career, like the day I launched, or maybe not the day, the week I launched my YouTube channel, I had read this study that people who were put in an MRI machine and read normal sentences, it activated the language parts of their brain. But you start messing with the structure of the normal sentences by reading them Shakespeare and the weird structures he used. It activated both the language and the puzzle-solving parts of the brain. So, by saying things that are a solvable puzzle, but not necessarily common language, you can be more enjoyable to listen to.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So if I make up words that through context people can figure out, it becomes more enjoyable.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's more rewarding to listen to weird stuff that almost makes sense.
Okay. Arthur Pendragon, happy birthday! You get no, I can't. I couldn't make it happen that time. It's based on the position of the camera when that happens. But Arthur Pendragon, thank you very much for that tier 1 subscription. You're on a 3-month streak. We are now consistently losing that. And that, I'm almost positive, has everything to do, yep, like I just shook the camera. Hold on, we're gonna do a mild text stream here. I'm gonna open up that back and make sure that the duct tape is holding in the connector nicely. One sec. In fact, you guys get to go full screen here as we look at this. Actually, I should probably not do that. I should probably leave this here so that way y'all can tell me if I'm fixing the issue or making it worse. Oh, that's right. I've got this. There's that. That's going over here. Ow. I just walked into stuff. We're just going to see if that helped at all. I don't know. If I nudge that, are we losing it? No. That may have worked. That may have done the thing. Stop killing ducks to make duct tape. Did I say duck? I did mean duct, if that's the case. Although, no, I should listen to Joe's advice where it's called duct tape. We're just going to make it up. You can infer from my usage what I meant.
Yeah, duct tape.
George, what's duct tape?
I'm not going to get down to Mardi Gras this year either, speaking of curtailed travel. But one of the best things I've ever eaten was in New Orleans. There's a bar that had French fries that were fried in duck fat. If you ever get a chance to have duck fat French fries with a little bit of aioli for dipping, go for that. That is, like, fantastic.
Okay. I have had duck. What do we have? I went out there and I did 13 different gumbos, and I think 2 of them were duck gumbos, and that was the second best one I had. Was a duck gumbo while I was out there.
Oh, so good. What was the best?
It was a seafood gumbo from a place called Deanie's or Dino's, Dean something. It was a fairly popular location. It had a line going outside. And I feel like that is indicative of it actually being a pretty decent establishment when there's like a 30 to 45 minute wait and it's not even like on the strip.
Oh man, yeah, I cannot wait to get back down there. Like I said, I'm sitting out a lot of travel this year, but like just being in New Orleans in like February where it's not too humid yet, and there's just everybody's out on the streets and there's just people and they're all dressed up and people are building these incredible floats they're driving past. Like, I just love to see that degree of creativity, you know?
Right? Yeah, no, I completely agree. Dice, you've been to New Orleans a bunch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a particular type of food that you appreciate or look for when you go out there?
Boudin.
Oh, sorry. Is that sorry? Is that boudin or is that the bread thing?
No, Boudin is a sausage.
Okay, good. Then I have something new to try now.
Oh, Alan's about the shrimp and grits. I love me some grits.
Ooh, yeah. Good grits with actually I didn't have really good shrimp and grits while I was out in New Orleans, but while I was in Georgia, I had the best shrimp and grits I've ever had.
New Orleans is really all about the po' boys and the pastries.
I did do Cafe du Monde.
Cafe du
There you go.
Monde.
Yeah, I did that, I think 3 times while I was out there, so all 3 of the days. Just went out there nice and early, got the coffee, got the croissant. I feel like that's standard New Orleans experience you have to try.
And if you're into cocktails that taste like Robitussin, go to O'Brien's and get yourself a hurricane.
I mean, that's not the best description I've ever heard. Like, you don't make me want whatever drink that is.
It tasted like straight Robitussin. But
okay.
There are people that enjoy them. Yeah, the beignets. Oh my god, the beignets.
Seriously, the beignets are awesome.
They taste like happy.
Oh, no. No, give me that back. That's not coming back. Nope, not coming back.
Wow, that's how brains work sometimes. It's unfortunate.
Right?
Also,
Now, go ahead.
Like, anytime you're looking up anything about a trip to New Orleans, no one ever mentions the smell.
Oh, the smell's pretty bad.
It's so bad. Beignet is more like beignets, am I right? And Tracy, take a phone.
That was pretty good.
Block is lit. Shoot the orbit.
All right, so if we're making a serious attempt at Number of the Beast, I have to focus on Mummy, rather. Should always be focused on money. But Mummy in this case.
I don't know, George. I'm
Hop one off to the
focused on the
bathroom,
art,
stroking
you
out
know?
any chance you can. When you get really good at it, you'll be stroking it, and you'll be thinking about money.
If you're just creative and you put good creativity out there, the money will just naturally follow.
I've heard that before. Feel like that is one of those things that doesn't often end up being real, but oh no.
Calling him a liar?
I mean, in fairness, it's the slow way to do it.
The money will follow if you find something oh man, I thought I was gonna get a free lock out of that shot.
Yeah, we got a mention.
What's up?
Andy
Oh,
shared
no.
his-
What just happened?
the
Oh
gin
my
honey
god, game, really?
2 ounces of gin, 0.75 ounces of honey syrup, 1 whole egg, oblate spheroid, shell removed and discarded. Shake vigorously with ice, strain, and shake again, a dry shake. Serve in a coupe glass, add a couple drops of Angostura bitters or fresh grated nutmeg for garnish.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. Also, Pinball Network just rated us with a party of 14. That is Frisco Pinball who just rated us. Frisco, my hat's off to you. How was your stream? What were you guys playing tonight? I didn't get an opportunity to stop by. Hey, says Frisco. All right, so Tracy, we'll hold off until you get back. Let us know when you get back on your walk, and then we'll talk about Weird Al.
New Godzilla code, 0.91.
Nice. Okay, how'd you do?
CNK says it was whamps already.
Well, you know, anytime you're shooting the whamps, you know, you're set.
I don't even hear the whamps is the thing.
Okay, I gotta say, so my daughter got back from visiting the other side of the family, and you know, they heard that she was getting into pinball because we got the pinball machine in the apartment now, thanks to George again. And so they're like, "Hey, you want to celebrate your birthday? Let's just go out to this arcade." And so she played Godzilla. And apparently on call 2, she's like, yeah, I had to go to the bathroom really fast, but I lasted for 10 minutes. And I ended up getting 4th on the leaderboard. And so, like, it's always nice to show that, like, hey, like, me getting this weird stuff for her to mess around with. It's like, no, she's actually developing, like, disciplined skills and things.
Right,
you know?
yeah, like actual skills.
Yeah, and she was so excited though too. She's like, it was a really big arcade. It was a cidercade in Austin, and she was really upset they didn't have. She likes hot cider in the winter, and she didn't know all the cider there was going to be alcoholic. I told the grown-ups got cider, but she didn't. You know, yeah. So she was really excited though. Like, hey, she went out on location. She got to put her initials in on a machine. She had played Godzilla when it was in our apartment here and out at the Music City Multicon when they had it on the floor. And so, yeah, that was like a highlight of her weekend.
That's awesome. And I'm sorry, I think your daughter is a little bit older than mine. Is that right?
Yeah, she just turned 9.
Okay, yeah.
Her birthday was this month. And yeah,
Awesome.
And your daughter's pretty close to that, right?
Yes, she is 8. She'll be 9 in July.
Ah, excellent. I'm a July baby myself, so
Oh!
great time to be born.
Okay, now we're double ball juggling over here. Also, Hans says, how is Austin, Texas so heavily represented on this channel? I feel like Texas, Illinois, and Colorado are your big pinball areas in the U.S.
Well, I'm hoping that Nashville starts making a bit more of a splash. What really messed us up this year with our local convention was that it ended up conflicting with the big Chicago event. So, like, Pinball Expo in Chicago was the same weekend as our Pinball Expo here. And so being like a huge deal like it had been in years past, which maybe it wasn't a big deal like compared to Pinburg or the stuff that's on your radar, but like I remember the first year I went to what was they called the Grand Old Game Room Convention. Like they had people demoing what do you call those digital pinball tables like Manu has?
Like VPX?
Yeah, VPX. They had people like demoing physical VPX tables you could buy. They had people selling parts for machines. There were just a ton of vendors there who were all about pinball. But like this year, all those guys were up in Chicago, you know? And so, yeah, we had 4 Godzillas on the floor and a bunch of other stuff to play, but like it was really not the same, you know?
Right. Because of Expo.
Yeah, because Expo had pushed back its date because of COVID, it ended
Right.
up on the same date as our thing, and like realistically, if I didn't live in Nashville, I would have been at Expo.
Right.
But I'm like, I can't let my hometown con, you know, not, you know, I can't skip that. That's, you know, you got to support your local events, or they.
Oh
won't
my
come back.
gosh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's asking Jedi about tacos El Gordo. And yes, Fuzzy Cord, this machine does slap. That was a decent save. My hand is still in pain from that slap right there. Baby Godzilla is the go. Oh, Frisco, I meant to ask. Also, oh my gosh, Tracy, when you get back, let us know, because we do have to, we have to start talking at some point soon about Weird Al, because I know there are a lot of people wanting to chat about that. And we have Sir Snarf in the chat right now, who happens to work for the company that is doing that.
So, George, I'm a little bit ignorant about the internal structure at P3, so I don't embarrass myself. What is Sir Snarf's role there?
That's a really good question. Sir Snarf, what is your role? I mean, besides being like a marketing BA, and maybe it is just marketing. And just, that sounded bad. I didn't mean just.
I was just saying, wait, is BA a bachelor's degree, or is that like
no, BA is in badass. I just didn't want to swear.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, a Bachelor of the Arts in Marketing. Okay, that's cool. I used to work for an ad agency. We drank a lot.
Right? Sir.
4, 3, 2.
There's no reason to call me Sir, Professor. Sorry about my silence there for a little bit.
Oh my
George.
God.
I was buying an octopus coffee cup holder.
I mean, if you have the opportunity to have an octopus coffee cup holder, why wouldn't you?
I thought, and I'm like, well, that's getting shipped to me.
Darn it. I'm trying to hit that mummy, and in this mode, you have to work on your mummy, actually respelling mummy, and it retains your progress. That's done though. So we got one letter of mummy. That was really, really bad. But basically you need to hit jackpots and then go and hit another letter when it's lit, and you have to respell mummy, and that is how you get one of the eddies to light Battle the Beast. You need all 4 eddies to get there. You've got mummy right there, then you've got cyborg, you've got a super jackpot in trooper, and then the far right is 2 minutes to midnight. Getting to 2 minutes to midnight isn't too bad. We're already almost there. We only have to complete Flight of the Icarus. We just have to get back into Mummy now, which is kind of a pain in the butt.
I'm actually going to hop out here for a little bit, George. At least I hope it is. I need to try and bulletproof my network a little bit. It's currently sleeting, and we have about 6 inches of snow on the way, so...
Okay. You do you, man. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Indubitably.
All right. Oh, no. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. I'll take that nudge. So speaking about nudging, Joe, you asked the question about the internals of the P3, and I think at that point you were talking about the company. Did you have questions about like the actual inside workings of the P3, or were you interested enough to know about, or you had more questions, but you wanted to know where Sir Snarf was in the business?
No, I just didn't want to like make a fool of myself by like, because like for all like I don't know, I'm not like in the pinball community outside of streaming very much, right? Like I know the people that stream in the pinball category. I didn't even know who Deadfoot was for the longest time because he kept streaming and just chatting, and so when I would check pinball, he was never there. I
Right.
knew who Manu and Colorado Pinball were and Pez Johnson for like 4 months before I ever heard of Deadflip. Because,
Okay.
like, I don't know, the guy streams and just chatting, and I don't check that, you know?
Right,
So
right.
I've got all these weird blind spots, and that's not a judgment on anybody else. That's just how I live my life, you know? And so, yeah, it's just one of those things where I was like, you know, for all I know, Sir Snarf started the company in his garage 25 years ago, like making just flippers, and now it's blown up, you know? So I just wanted to make sure I didn't say anything stupid, because, yeah, I didn't really know what he does. But he explicitly went in here and said that
A little bit of
primarily-
everything, mostly
little bit of
marketing and
everything.
sales. Yep.
Yeah. So that's actually helpful to know. I do understand, like, fundamentally, like, what a P3 is and how it works. Like, you know, I've checked out the website. Once again, I'm not in a position to be, like, acquiring things like that. Yeah, I had my brother over here playing this Guardians machine, and I made a joke about, like, yeah, this is, like, the most expensive object in my apartment by, like, double anything else. And then I started thinking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, that might not be an exaggeration. That might be low. Like, because we were talking about, he's like, how do I get one of these? And I was like, well, you got to know somebody, or you got to put a $5,000 deposit down. And he's just like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, these things are super expensive right now. And I was like, what else do I have in here? It's like, okay, I got a new mattress that was $300. I got a new dining room table. That's nowhere near as expensive as this. I got a computer. Like, all the parts together are like $3,000 there, and I'm like, man, yeah, this is probably the most expensive thing. Well, and even when I was driving it back from Georgia, I was thinking to myself, this thing's worth twice as much as my car. I cannot get in an accident right now, you know? Like,
Well, that's what
you know.
insurance covers it. You were fine.
well, no, I know, but like, I still, like, George, like, this was my first time going and picking up a pinball machine. It would not be cool if I got in a car accident, like, on the way home.
It
Like,
would not be
you
cool if you got into a car accident because you're Joe Hills and I don't want you to get in a car accident. How about
I
that?
appreciate that, but like also like the whole way home I was like, okay, I'm going exactly the speed limit. I'm checking my mirrors, like just like the most defensive driving possible. That guy wants to pass me, that guy gets to pass me, that's fine. I am good with it. Like, you know, I'm just not gonna take any risks. But yeah, no, it's one of those things like, yeah, I'm just not in a position where it's like that's something that I can go after myself. It's really neat to learn about like how they work and stuff, and you know, it's exciting to see what they've been working on. Like I was looking at the P-Rock boards and stuff like that. After hearing Captain DC talk on a podcast about how he had taken it was either an Earth Shaker or a Whirlwind, and like rewrote all the code with custom rules. Using one of those, there's just a lot of cool stuff they do. So like I'm like aware of the tech, but yeah, just not like in my personal budget for the next year or anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, you can keep going then with TNA. I'm good with that, and I'm excited to go out to Tennessee. Maybe get a little bit of barbecue. Wait, is barbecue the thing to get when you're in Tennessee?
I mean, well, yeah, traditionally. Now, the last like 20 years or so, it's been hot chicken, and that's kind of hit the national stage the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, we could take you out to get some local hot chicken, and I think that would be a real treat.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean.
Oh
but
my
yeah, we got
God,
plenty
I
of
get
good
Nashville
barbecue.
hot chicken all the time here, so that totally makes
But
sense.
The thing is, though, that like, so basically, like, there used to be a few restaurants that were like these like mom and pop places owned by African Americans, and then like white kids who had parents who were bankers like went and took their recipes and like went national with it. But like
Okay.
if you want like the authentic like local stuff, you know, you come here.
Okay. Okay. I'm game.
Yeah,
God,
I'm really excited to
especially
have you
Nashville
here,
hot.
George. Yeah.
Oh no.
And it's one of those things like I've been trying to figure out like so I guess what we would do is we'd probably stream Guardians, break it down, and then stream TNA, or I don't know how long you're going to be staying over or what's going to be happening, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely down for 2 games. Or 2 streams, 2 games streaming. Yeah, that sounds really good. Especially TNA with the sound turned up. By the way, I am ready for another beverage. I'm not sure how you're doing. You're not as restricted as I am, though, by like physical. You have to stay right here.
Well, it's funny because Eurydice and I. Every time he's like, "Oh, sorry for not talking much, George," and then he starts. As soon as he says, "Sorry for not talking much, George," I mute my mic and I'm like, "Okay, let me go refill my drink. Let me go get my snacks. I'm gonna chew on something." So no, I've refilled my drink. I got another George Stickle on the rocks.
Okay. Hans also letting me know that the machine was a little bit too loud. I just turned it down. We've got a little bit of music playing in the background. I'm going to turn that up just a hair. So that way there is some background music going on. Also, Jedi, did I see earlier that you're going to sell your one of your pinball machines to further your hobby? Let's say we'll call it a hobby of driving your Bronco around. Is that correct? Because that seems like you have your priorities in the wrong place. And yeah, Pinsomniac, Pinball Mafia, Alan was, I think how did snowboarding go? I think, right? You were recently in Colorado. And Jedi McMuffin is really thinking about doing it. That sounds awful. Frisco's immediately, by the way, jumping on that. Like, wait a second. Is it an LE and can I potentially buy it off of you? The aftermarket hardtop is going to be $6K. Or a pinball machine. But you have 2 more pinball machines coming in, right? It's a Pro with the UV kit.
George, I'm not an expert on all the nomenclature. What is a hardtop?
I am not either. So the hardtop that Jedi is talking about is on his new Bronco. He's got the 2022 Bronco. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just for a pinball machine that didn't make any sense, but for a pickup truck, that I get. Okay.
I like the idea though. Like, what could a hardtop be on a pinball machine?
Yeah, like if you've ever seen like those sleeping pods they have at airports, like a nap pod. Imagine that for a pinball machine, and then you just go under this thing, so you don't have all the distractions of the arcade. Maybe it has some windows on the side, like a pickup truck hardtop, so people can see that you're in there. I mean, your legs would be sticking out the bottom, but there's a way to do it.
Tess Bishop is right. There is a hardtop. A hardtop is typically if you have an old messed up playfield, there's a company that does hardtops that does a very thin layered piece of plastic that's colored and positioned and everything's done perfectly where you lay it down on top of the bad playfield and then you play on the updated the piece of hard plastic that sits on top. And it supposedly is not noticeable in terms of like how it plays. So there is a hardtop in pinball.
You know, I guess arguably the plastic on top of Orbiter 1's playfield would probably count as a hard top.
I love Orbiter.
It definitely affects how it plays.
That is such a weird game.
Oh, I know. Yeah, like that's one of those things where we have one at the Chattanooga Pinball Museum in Southeast Tennessee, but we had one at Game Terminal last time I was there, and so when I saw that, I grabbed my friends and I was like, okay, this is the weirdest machine that you're ever gonna play. We gotta play it. And everybody's just like, I don't know what's going on, but it's neat.
It's something. I don't even know what to call it. It's a perfect metaphor, I feel like, in game form for why the pinball hobby died. Right? Like, it was cool, it was very unique, but how does a company justify that, right?
Well, I don't know though. Like on a certain level, if you're like, obviously the Italian bottom makes sense. Like it works, we understand it, but I feel like for an industry to move forward, you have to have a company that's big enough to say, we're going to take some risks and we're going to do some weird stuff too, right? And maybe that's only 1 in 10 of the machines you put out.
Yeah.
But like, if every Stern machine is as solid as Godzilla, like Godzilla just shoots so naturally. Like the first time I played it, I was just shocked at how naturally it felt. Like, but you can't do every machine as an optimal version of what came before. You've got to take some risks. And I feel like that's a machine that it took some weird risks. And I love it for that.
Okay.
Maybe it didn't move the industry forward, but it was a cool engineering challenge for the people that worked on it. It gave the gamers an opportunity to see something different. I don't know. I feel like it's okay to gamble a little bit on stuff like that, as long as you don't drive your company underwater.
True. Okay. And that's a really good point, right? Because you'd have to look back and say, how many weird games did that company do and how successful were they? Were they just making poor decisions to try and do something different that nobody else had done? Or was that the one oddball that someone had a crazy idea one night after smoking a bunch of illicit drugs and it actually got turned into something? Because that is a really, really weird game.
Well, here's the thing too, though, is you want to give like your talent a chance to do something where they feel like they're creatively stretching their abilities, right?
True.
And so, yeah, if you say, hey, look, a few of your projects in a row are going to be pretty much straight down the middle, what people expect. But you stick at it for 10 years and you get to do one weird game, that makes people want to stay at your company for 10 years rather than starting their own company. Because if they have this idea for this cool game that they really think will work, even though it won't, they're going to quit and go start that company, right?
Very true.
So
yeah.
You let them try that experiment within the safety of your company, and then they work for you for another decade. You've got to be willing to throw money toward the creativity of your engineers and your artists if you're going to have a company that runs for 30, 40 years, in my opinion.
Okay. No, that's really good. In fact, I was just looking at some numbers. Jezebel, I'm not sure if she's in the stream, but she sent me some of the school stuff that she was working on right now. She's going for a master's in business management. And I probably am not even saying it correctly, but she sent me, she has an entire class right now she's taking about what it takes, how much it costs companies to have turnover. What's the real cost of turnover, and then how do you reduce either the cost of turnover, the average cost, or how do you reduce turnover itself? And what you're describing is spot on with some of the biggest suggestions there. Also catching up on chat. Tess Bishop, pop bumper. What risks did Godzilla take? Pop bumper position?
Well, but that's what I'm saying, though, is when I played Godzilla, I didn't feel like it was taking risks. I feel like it had optimized things that had already been tested. There are some cool new concepts in there, but they're iterations or evolutions of previous things. They're refinements. Orbiter 1 is just bizarre, right?
Right, that's out there.
So if you're running a company like Stern, you make the games that are just optimizations and refinement games. But then occasionally, when you have somebody who's really good and they have a weird idea you're going to lose money on, you just say, you know what? I'd rather you lost money on it here than lose money on it at your own company.
Yep. Sometimes you take a loss to keep people happy and allow them some artistic freedom.
And the thing is, some subset of the players who actually appreciate the same mechanic as that particular designer will go, I love this game and I hate it wasn't more successful. I appreciate that this company took a risk here, and yeah, it didn't pan out for them. But like, for me, this is my game. This is the one that's for me. This is the one that challenged how I think about this. And that's great too.
Yep. No, that's well said. There we go. There we go. All right, we're doing things now. Let's see if we can hit this right ramp. Got it. Oh, I gotta hit middle. Nope. Oh my God, no. I'm getting that. I got it. We're good. Wow. It like snuck in the one jackpot there at the very last second. I'm not proud of myself in the least, especially since we're already on ball 2 right now. All right, so catching back up. Pinball Circus could be mentioned as well. Okay, yep, that is Pinball Circus, the multi-level 3D game that really went out there. Also, sorry, who was asking hi, this is Joe, and I'm pointing to my left. I don't know why, Joe, you're in my mind over to my left, but you're over here.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm to the left of most people, so that makes sense.
That's a point right there. You're +1, faux show. Vertical, yes. Hi, Joe. Sorry, man. Frisco is definitely an elitist. Yep, no question. On the TPN Discord, he is a well-known elitist at this point. CNK says Joe is in my right ear.
You know, I'm not in charge of how you balance your stereo. I'm a big fan of you just doing your own stuff in your own home.
Thanks. I mean, the stereo is balanced right now. I feel like that was for comedic reasoning only. Oh my God, when these ramps feel amazing. I'm gonna throw this out there right now. Like, I had a Pro for a while, and the game felt good. I'm playing an LE, and this is the best this game has ever felt. And these ramps are hitting so solid. I don't know if I'm a more accurate player or if these ramps are bigger. Like, it would not surprise me to find that these ramps are actually larger on the LE for some reason, since you're forced to hit them more often.
You know, I will say, George, you know, so you bought the Pro Guardians, and I actually had the chance to play the Premium on location after this was in my apartment for about 2 months at Game Terminal. And I gotta say, you know what? Yeah, there's some extra RGB lights or whatever, and there's some spinners, but like, this is a really solid Pro.
It is.
Like, what you get out of the Premium on Guardians of the Galaxy isn't really a huge jump.
Nope.
So, yeah, you definitely made a good call there.
Yeah, it's like one of the I don't even know about few. There's actually quite a few, but it's definitely one of the games from Stern that it's just not justified. All right, so now we're gonna hit middle. I mean, we hit the bullseye. There's a soul shard? Got it. And we got an Add-a-Ball. Oh my God. Get there. Oh my God, hit that super. We need that super jackpot, Joe.
I believe in you, George.
That was not it at all.
My belief was poorly placed.
It wasn't. We're gonna get there. Oh no, we're not. Nope, I'm sorry. It was poorly placed. You were absolutely right. But we didn't drain, so we at least have that going for us. Game time, you have lost your mind if you think Stern has put bigger ramps on the LE because you gotta hit them more. Game time television. I'm having some fun. It's just, see, the ramps are that much easier to hit. See, I just hit the left ramp. I couldn't do it on the Pro. I'm just gonna chalk that up to having a lot more experience playing. I almost said poker. I feel like that's indicative of how much time I've spent playing pinball. I think I've just gotten more accurate over time is all.
I mean, I don't know, George. Like, a lot of it varies machine to machine too, or like even like how clean the individual machine is. right? So
Right.
like I took the glass off this Guardian and wiped down like the area above the flipper and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like I'm getting ramp shots that were like stalling partway up the ramp. Like if you were playing on a machine that just wasn't cleaned properly,
Right. It
maybe
plays very differently.
it's holding you back, you know?
Oh, Tracy from first of all, whether or not a machine is cleaned absolutely impacts play. Joe, you nailed it on the head, which is also why every couple of months I go through and clean and wax all of my games. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Do you have, and maybe we've talked about this before, but do you have any particular home maintenance things that you actually enjoy doing? Like, be it laundry, or for me, it's vacuuming. For some reason, I love vacuuming.
Well, you know, it's one of those things like, as a single parent, I'm doing all of those things all the time.
Right.
And in some ways, that's like the only time that's like, quote unquote, like for me. I can just put on a video on YouTube and just like zone out and clean or cook and, you know, but I'm not really particular about the task and
Okay.
you know, it's just nice to have some time where it's like, I feel like I'm not being negligent because I'm making progress on things that are necessary for maintaining a sanitary cooking environment or whatever. But like
Right.
I'm also, you know, just like, oh, I get to listen to this funny video. That's nice. Like without feeling like, oh, I should be working right now.
I totally get that. I'm going to try something really quick. I'm going to mute Discord, but I hope that doesn't mute our conversation. No, there's mute and deafen. Hold on. Nah, I got to actually open it. Give me a sec. People
Yeah,
are pointing out that you can hear Discord conversations coming through. Also, Tess Bishop enjoys lint rolling. And Arthur Pendragon says I can come out to Kansas and vacuum his house. All right, so I need to mute server.
Okay, no. What you need to do is you need to go set your Discord to streamer mode. They're saying they can hear all the notification sounds when people are typing and stuff.
Is
right?
that what streamer mode does? Because I always disable it.
No. Streamer mode turns off all the alerts. Because, like, any normal person is probably in, like, 35 to 85 Discords.
Right.
If you use Discord at all, you don't just have one group you're part of. And so, yeah, streamer mode disables all of those audio alerts and all the pop-ups and everything. So that's what you want. If you mute, that actually mutes, like, voices and stuff.
Okay, so I didn't mute. I can still hear you. I muted 2 servers for 3 hours apiece. So I think those notifications are off. But next time, I will just go into streamer mode, and then we don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. And then when you're not streaming, you turn that off, and then you get all the notifications you want.
Game Time Television, if you're still on, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm able to hit these ramps at will, and I feel like I shouldn't be able to do that right now, which is why I jokingly said maybe the wamps, oh my god, I accidentally said wamps. Maybe the ramps are a little bit bigger on the LEs.
Maybe you're just more confident, George.
Maybe that's the key, is to believe that you can hit the ramp. I believe I can hit this right ramp. There we go.
Like, when I have a limited edition, I have unlimited potential.
All right, let's see. Can I hit this left ramp? I can hit the left ramp. Oh my god, that's what happens when it gets going too fast, is you accidentally send it down that left orbit. Or left thingy. Whatever that's called. Outlane, there it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, by the way, Tracy is back, finished walking the dog, and we have Sir Snarf in chat. Let's do this. So, I gotta ask that question, and I think I did maybe before the stream or at the beginning, but Joe, do you like Weird Al?
Absolutely. Hugely influential in my life. I actually have 2 albums out full of parody songs. But like, yeah, no, when I was a little kid, I would listen to Weird Al and I'd be like, I want to write my own parodies. And it turns out all you need to do is get a DistroKid account and have a brother who actually is good at music and just like be like, hey, here's a song I wrote and $350. Can you put this to music and like put it on there? So I probably spent more money paying my musician brother to record the music I've made than to like I've made back on DistroKid. But like, yeah, I mean, no, Weird Al's been hugely influential. Yeah.
Okay. I never got into Weird Al. So when I saw the license hit, it's funny because I saw Fliptronic, that's Jordan and Becca, mentioned multiple times, and they kept posting teasers all over Facebook, I feel like, about it. And then Multimorphic was posting teasers. I was getting all excited. And then it was Weird Al. And I've never been, I've never been a fan. And I think as a kid, it would have been the perfect time for it because I love puns. Like I have always really enjoyed puns, but I never got into Leslie Nielsen and like the Naked Gun series. I really didn't like airplane, like that style of humor. And for whatever reason, I lumped Weird Al into that same genre. So I never really gave Weird Al a chance. Pinsomniac, I watched it with you guys, and I feel like it's very much probably like Three Amigos in some ways, which I love. But I grew up with Three Amigos, so it has that nostalgia factor in the same way that like Star Wars does for kids who grew up in the 80s, and now the younger generation prefers the early like episodes 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I was not a fan of Police Academy.
Well,
Tess Bishop.
Here's what I'm going to say, George, about Weird Al is he's parodying across multiple different genres, right?
Yeah.
And so on any given album he puts out, there will be 2 or 3 songs where I'm like, that's not really for me. That's for people who loved the originals in that genre. And I didn't really like that song the first time. I'm not going to like it with funnier lyrics, right?
Right.
But that's okay because he's doing his own twist on stuff, right? And
right.
So you might have seen him doing stuff that it's like, oh, that's the stuff I don't like. But I feel like if maybe you kind of broadened your intake of Weird Al, you might go,
yeah,
oh, there are a few things here where I'm like, okay, that I get, you know.
And that's the thing. Like I've tried it recently, and like Weird and Nerdy, or which is I don't know I can't remember the name of the song that it's a play on.
It's a parody of Riding Dirty, and it's called White and Nerdy.
White and Nerdy comes up on Facebook for me for whatever reason. Like Facebook, I went into PowerPoint 2 days ago, or no, yesterday, and built a slide deck for the first time in 6 months. I'm not the person who builds slides in PowerPoint. I'm the person who writes code or reviews code or uses Jira all the time. So I had to build a slide deck, and then the next day Facebook is prompting me with like, hey, did you know you don't actually have to do these things in PowerPoint? We can just give you 500 slides that have everything, and you can copy and paste and change the content. But on that note, Facebook knows me in a way that like people I know very well don't know me, because it knows what ads to give me and what things to play, and it started about a year ago giving me Weird Al. So I've listened to probably about 4 or 5 songs at this point, and I can appreciate them, but I missed out on that, like in the same way that when I hear Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock with Baw with the Baw, and I know that's going to be a big joke, but like I hear those songs and it brings me back to like the 1998 and when it was awesome, and I loved that style of music. Or the first time I heard Daft Punk's their Around the World, or whatever the other song that was really popular on Homework. But it brings you back, and I missed out on that with Weird Al. So it's not that I dislike it. I guess I haven't, as you said, I haven't broadened my horizons enough. And then on top of that, I didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, and I was lucky to grow up with it, you know, and not everybody has that. And, you know, I get it. But, like, it's one of those things where, like, there are some people who are very good at, like, one very narrow thing. And you're just like, okay, I see why that guy blew up, right?
Right.
But Weird Al is legitimately a stupidly talented musician. He's a very talented entertainer. He knows how to put on a stage show. He knows how to design costumes and do all sorts of stuff for like big arena shows. Like he is just in a lot of ways a consummate entertainer. And it's one of those things. He's got all these chops for like designing music videos and doing cutting edge stuff with video editing. But because he wasn't just like Billy Joel, where it's like, oh, this guy plays piano and sings really good. He never necessarily got the appreciation maybe he deserved. Like,
right.
Yeah, in nerd circles, people are like, oh yeah, I love Weird Al. But like, honestly, it's one of those things like, he does so much stuff so well.
So much,
At this point, he's directing other people's music videos. Like, he's helping Ben Folds out with music videos. He's doing cartoon shows for kids. He's just all over the place because he's just so talented. And, like, sorry, this is just me rambling about how great this guy is.
No. Ramble away. I love hearing this.
My point is, when you're good at this many things, it's really hard to find a niche that resonates on this huge cultural level. He's never going to be Bono because he's better at more things.
Right.
Now, Bono's really good at what Bono's good at, but it's very narrow.
Got it. You're going with the jack of all trades as opposed to a professional or amazing at one particular things.
Exactly. And so, like, you might find out later, like, oh, hey, I saw this music video 10 years ago I really like. I didn't even know Weird Al directed that. Like, or my kid watches the show. I didn't even know Weird Al was like the showrunner for that. Or like he's just all over the place, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that there are people who have a lot of common interest with me who don't like Weird Al, because you could see 20% of what Weird Al did and go, none of that's for me.
Right.
But, you know, if you don't see the other 80%, and why would you? Yeah. You might not recognize it.
So I've got a few things there. First of all, I have some amazing photos I took of Tracy at Expo dressed up as Weird Al. And I gotta say, Tracy looks more like Weird Al when cosplaying as Weird Al than Weird Al does normally. Whatever weird, like, Tracy looks more like Weird Al than Weird Al. I don't know how else to say that. Also, Game Time Television, have a great night.
We'll know Tracy has made it when Weird Al cosplays as Tracy, though.
Well, but, sorry, Tracy, when you say that you showed those pictures to Weird Al, like, did you get the opportunity to meet Weird Al? Sir Snarf says, it's crazy to see on the comments and forums how few haters there are compared to most theme reveals, especially music pins. Yeah, okay. And Tracy Weird Al is on point. I did post that, by the way, to the Discord earlier. We posted them earlier. I think I posted them to Facebook after Expo, but I had to repost it just to bring it back and I think that's in the general channel on the Discord if you're there, just below the post where it was either Nintendo Doremi or maybe Tess Bishop who posted the first link this morning. It is hard to hate Weird Al. Oh, a few times. He knows who I am. Oh my God. Okay, but like you said, go ahead.
That for me is one of those things, like, you know, when I see things like Rebecca from Hot Nudge dressed as Elvira at a pinball convention, and Elvira was like excited to meet her.
Right.
That is so cool for you, but I can't imagine that for myself.
Nope.
Like, as much as I love Weird Al, you know, like, if there was like a concert where they're like, oh, you could spend X amount of money and get a behind-the-scenes VIP experience where you have dinner with Weird Al, I'm like, what would I say to him? I'd be like, you're good at all the things you already know you're good at. Like, you don't need Joe.
What is that conversation like?
Like that doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make my life better. Like, I'm just gonna save the money and go sit in the general audience section of the. Like, I don't need to have dinner with Weird Al. But like, it's funny because there are some people though who can just like connect with people like that, and I don't know. Like, I can't. That's not a talent I have.
Like, I have to genuinely be interested, and it's not a lack of interest, but like I've thought about that a few times. Like, I had the opportunity several times now to chat with oh my God, Roger Sharp, right? And like I sat down at a table and it was Roger Sharp, me, I think 2 other people, and the Jersey Jack, like Jersey Jack the guy. And I'm sitting down at this table and I'm like, what do we say? Like, I got nothing. There's nothing. I was so excited to be like, wow, Roger Sharp, the guy who saved pinball, and Jersey Jack. These guys probably have a lot of history. This is great. They're not going to tell me what themes they're working on. I don't really care about what it takes to manage a pinball business. And the big thing Roger Sharp is known for is licensing stuff, but he won't be able to talk about it at all. So, you know, the weather? Like what? Yeah. I guess I totally feel what you're saying.
Well, and like I've like ended up at bars with like I don't know if you know Jerry Holkins, who
I do not.
He's the CEO of Penny Arcade.
Oh, cool.
Which is like PAX and stuff, and like I go to PAX all the time, and like I keep ending up at the same places as him, and I never have anything to say to him. But like his low-level employees, I'm like, oh my God, you guys did a great job with this part of the event. Oh, hey, I saw on Twitter that you were working on this part of the event and it kicked ass. Like I can relate to the people on the ground doing the work to make the event happen. But if I'm at the bar next to Jerry Holkins, I'm just like, good convention.
Yep.
Yeah. like I don't know how to run a company at that scale. I don't have anything. Like, what he doesn't need anything from me. Like, everything I can get from him is all happening around me. That's the entire weekend, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, the random person who's, like, helping the people, like, get their booth set up, you know, I run into them at the bar, and I'm like, dude, there are so many great guests at this convention. There were so many cool things. Like, whatever you guys were doing on the floor to make this all happen, it happened, and I love it. Like I know how to talk to those people. I don't know how to talk to the guy in charge, you know?
No. Sir Snarf, by the way, is... I just got to... Sir Snarf says, to be fair, you did a great job of connecting with the voice behind the machine. So... there's a story around this. The voice behind the machine is one of the voice actors who has done a bunch of voice acting for pinball machines throughout the history of pinball machines. Hey, Sayla HB, we can buy followers, primes, and viewers with you. How awesome is that? I love it. So there was this guy.
I usually ban those people, but like I'm curious to see how you run your thing.
Yes. Okay, so really, really nice guy, but he, it was one of those, like, he walked up and you could tell he wanted us to recognize him. And nobody was reaching out to give this guy that little bit of feedback he was hoping to have. And in my mind, I'm just imagining this guy who was invited to be a part of Expo and probably telling a dozen, if not 40 people that he was the voice behind the machine in pinball multiple times. And all of this is happening right after, by the way, Sir Starf, myself, and a lot of other people went out to my car and grabbed beers and then also grabbed a fresh thing of really good whiskey that I loved. It was Whistle Pig, I think it was. So we all finished off. I think Sir Snarf and I finished off the Whistle Pig, and anyway, this guy walks up. I'm fairly intoxicated at this point. Have this moment of like ridiculous empathy, I think, for maybe what this guy was going through, because I have no way to sympathize with that. But it was a ridiculous amount of empathy, so I fed into it a little bit as he was talking to a group of us with Sir Snarf, and asked him for, can you do any of the voices? And the guy could not have been more happy to run through. He did like Star Wars soliloquies as multiple characters and like borderline started singing to us. Yeah, Sir Snarf, a little bit. I fed into it. And at the end, I feel like, I don't remember the guy's name, but I feel like he walked away once again, like secure in whatever his belief, like where he resides in the pinball world and the like pinball zeitgeist, right? Like he was good. He walked away and that made his night, was just people asking him to do some voices. So I don't look at that like it was a bad thing. At the same time, he didn't stop for roughly an hour. It was probably 45 minutes of voices and conversation.
Well, and so that's the thing, though, is if somebody just has, like, a badge that says guest, right? I love not knowing who somebody is and saying, oh, hey, I see you're a guest. I'm having a great time at the con. What are you doing here? What's your role? Like, what are you, you know? And, like, if that person's like, oh, yeah, I was in Theater of Magic as, you know, the guy that yells the name of the trick. Like, that's awesome. I could get, like, immediately, like, excited and activated about that, right? But, like, if you were just like, hey, Joe, do you want to have dinner with Gary Spurn? It's like, oh, no.
No.
What am I going to do there? Like, if I didn't know who he was, I would be fine. But, like, I just don't. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I gotta go talk to this famous person.
Yep.
I need to have, like, the most important things they could contribute to my life, they're already contributing with the work they're already doing. Like, I love Elvira, but, like, honestly, the only thing I would have to say to Elvira in person is, could you sign this thing for my girlfriend who really loves you too?
Yes.
Because
I got
like
no meaningful conversation.
Right? I don't,
yeah.
You know, that's not something I need. But, like, I could go, okay, somebody else in my life who's important to me has this. But, like, you know, for a lot of these people, that's not the case. Like, you know, it's just like, they're living their best lives, and I'm happy for them. And, like, I'm happy to pass, like, ships in the night, you know?
Yep. Nope. Yeah, I'm right there. I got you. So catching back up 3 hours later, Sir Snarf, it was legitimately, I think, at least 45 minutes. Yes, Tess Bishop. He was a voice actor and did a bunch of work for pinball machines. Well, he did before this stream. Wait, 3 hours later, a little bit. Party mods. No, he was very good. He was, Sir Snarf, very good. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like so, Joe, have you ever been forced into that situation? Not just like, I don't want to have to deal with it, so I'm not going to make it happen, but you're thrust into a situation where you're having to talk to somebody whom you might appreciate their work, but you don't know what to say or talk about. Is that something that you've been a part of?
Well, yeah, that's literally what I'm just, like, describing with Jerry Holkins.
Oh,
like,
sorry. I thought that was a...
No, that was a real example.
That's awesome.
Like,
okay.
Like, where it's just like, this guy, he runs Penny Arcade and he does an amazing job. He makes all these things I love. But, like, I'm just like, he doesn't need validation from me.
No.
You know, and, like, I don't need anything personal from him because all of the things he puts out in the world are already such a positive influence on my life. It's like, I don't have anything to say. Like, let's just sit here and drink our beers. You know? Like,
yep.
You know, and that's fine, in my opinion. Like, sometimes you just want to go to a bar and have a drink, but, like, yeah, I mean, so that has happened where I've been, like, in these situations with people who are, like, hugely influential in things I care about, but, like, you know, I'm not the sort of person that goes out there and seeks that, you know?
Yep.
So, and it's weird because I will say, like, the counterexample to this is somebody that a lot of people here know is Scott Genesi. Like, I love Total Nuclear Annihilation, and Scott Genesi is just on, like, Discord all the time being like, hey, anybody want to play VR chat? Anyone want to play mini golf? Like, let's pal around. And, like this is just, like, a super approachable guy, but, like, there's a difference between, like, one guy who builds stuff in his garage and, like, one guy who runs a company or runs a series of conventions or is, like, Weird Al who does, like, you know, several albums over the course of, you know, 60 years or something. You're like, you know, because like Weird Al's been around for a long time now.
Right, and Scott's super approachable, right? Like that. I feel like that's just part of his MO.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I love palling around with Scott Denisi, but like that's just a cool thing that people who are alive right now get to do. That like maybe like our grandchildren will be jealous of. Like it's one of those things. Like I'm not saying he's the next Tesla or Edison or anything, but like maybe.
No, but yeah.
Let's give him another 30 years and see what he gets done, but like no, and so that's the weird thing though, is there are some like people who are just like on the ground in the trenches. I have no problem hanging out with and engaging with. It's just like when those people are both in the trenches creating stuff but also running like media empires, I'm like, I don't know, there's just something about it where I'm like, this guy probably gets 100 people who want to get close to him a day.
Right.
And I just don't want to be that guy, right? Like, it just makes me feel like I should give them their space.
Yep. Like, there's already enough sycophants probably this person has to deal with.
Yeah, and not that I want to be a sycophant for somebody who's in the trenches either, but like, like, I just know how hard it is. Even though I feel like I'm a relatively successful creative person, like, just getting by is difficult if you're somebody who's trying to put something good out in the world, like, but you also have responsibilities. It's a challenge. And so it's nice to hear nice things occasionally about the work I'm doing, but like, I guess once the person is like runaway wealthy, I can't connect to them anymore because I am so far from that. Right.
Yep.
Like for somebody who's just like, yeah, I'm making this stuff and like I think it's good, but like I don't know if anything's gonna come from it. Like I get that.
Yeah.
That I get.
Yeah. No. I'm right there with you. So Alan says he wants to do some voice acting for a pin. It'd have to be Southern themed though. You need a twang. I'm your guy. Move over, Red and Ted. I don't know Red and Ted.
Wait. That's Red and Ted Roadshow. You know Red and Ted.
I do not know Red and Ted. What is Red and Ted Roadshow?
This is a classic. Like where you got the days of the week and you get paid on Friday and you're traveling east to west across America. You got a bulldozer. There's 2 puppets on the thing. Oh my gosh.
Wait, why is there a bulldozer?
Well, because, okay.
Oh, wait, it's a Roadshow reference. I have never played Roadshow.
What?
I have never played Roadshow. It's always broken is the problem. I've been to several places where it's at, but it is always disabled because something doesn't work on it.
Oh my gosh, if we can get you to Game Terminal when you're in Nashville, we're going to play Roadshow, because this is like a cornerstone game for me. I love Roadshow.
Okay. Done. Yeah, it's one of those games. You know what? It has the talking faces on it. It has 2 talking faces on it actually, and for whatever reason, there's another game that has a talking face called Funhouse, and Funhouse is scary. Roadshow is not. I feel like it's the hard hats on Roadshow that make it seem a lot less demonic, but Funhouse seems demonic to me. Ooh, I gotta go back up.
Well, I feel like in Funhouse, it's supposed to be like a creepy puppet to some degree. You know what I mean? Like it's borderline Uncanny Valley. Whereas like Red and Ted's Roadshow is just like so much more approachable. I don't know.
Okay. No, I could see that.
They're blue collar. They're traveling across the country, demolishing things. Destroying is always easier than creating. Like I don't know. But yeah, wow. So, and this is one of those other weird blind spot things. I'm not trying to call you out on this, but this actually parallels the Weird Al thing a lot.
Okay.
Where if just every place you went, Roadshow never worked, then of course you don't like Roadshow. Of course you don't know it.
Oh, I wouldn't say that I don't like Roadshow. I just haven't ever had the opportunity to actually play it. And also, Tracy, I want to throw out there, says, "Ha, that makes sense, George." I feel like it's a wide body. There's a lot going on in that game, and I'm imagining there are other people who also who have seen that game broken often.
Yeah, no, and I get that. It's one of those things like, it's a Pat Lawler game, and it's they sold a lot of them. Truck stops love them.
Right, that maybe makes sense. I don't know. Like, wouldn't you want something to escape from reality?
Well, the thing is, though, that like it's validating. Well, and once again, this goes back to you have a job that feels relatively thankless. It's nice to hear like, hey, you're doing a good job. Truckers don't have sycophants.
You know what the difference is between you and me?
Right?
Truckers don't have what?
Sycophants.
Oh, that's very true.
Like we were talking earlier about like Weird Al or the people who run these conventions, they have these hangers-on sycophants and whatever, whereas the people on the ground doing the work don't. And so like telling them like, you did a great job, I'm having a great time, thank you so much, means more to them. Right?
Makes sense.
Because there's nothing you can get from them beyond what you already got, which is the convention or the event or whatever,
Yeah.
And so for truckers hanging out, like, oh yeah, I'm going to play this game about these people traveling across America. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. I guess I would love to play a game themed by hackers. There we go. that makes sense. Just a computer programmer in general, I could totally get. And I've played a bunch of first-person games.
I've never seen a pinball machine themed after my sequel. But, I okay, we've got the select ramp over here, we've got the update orbit,
and then as you upgrade, you have to do unions, and it gets really tough.
It's like we got left joint, we've got the right joint, like, you could do stuff with the inlays there, like, there's a lot you could do with my sequel as a pinball concept, and this is why I'm not commercially viable.
A couple things catching up here, by the way. Jezebel, have a great night. Manu is in the stream, and Manu said, what was it? George has never played a Bally Williams table in his life. Give him a break. I have played a couple, at least.
He says he asked you to play a Williams Matrix game at Pre-Gold Watch, and you threw up a bit in your mouth. Okay.
What game was it?
We're going to have to drag you out to Game Terminal when you're in Nashville, George.
Oh my god, we played Medieval Madness.
When I say we're going to have to drag you out, Mr. Hardluck is actually a professional wrestler. I don't know if you realize that.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. So that's why he was saying, somebody earlier was like, man, George is way too buff. I hope Joe Hills isn't buff. And Mr. Hardluck's like, yeah, well, we've got an arm wrestling thing planned, so, but no, I mean, he's going to thrash me at that. But yeah, like Mr. Hardluck could probably physically drag you to Game Terminal and make you play a Bally Williams table.
Okay, so there was an offer to arm wrestle at some point. I remember seeing it, and I got distracted, so I never addressed it. But Mr. Hardluck, you're saying, could beat me in arm wrestling. Don't take Mr. Hardluck on?
Yeah. Mr. Hardluck and I had said, hey, if you ever get down to Tennessee for a convention, we'll do an arm wrestling thing on stream. And so, yeah. So, the same
challenge accepted, says Mr. Hardluck. Okay.
Now we both got to arm wrestle him if you're going to be here that same weekend,
Done. I'm assuming I don't know how arm wrestling works. Like, do you have lefties versus righties? I'm assuming only lefties can arm wrestle lefties, or do you have to be able to go both ways?
I mean, like, your arms should be, like, equally strong, or you're going to have, like, really awkward, like, giant arm on one side.
Did you ever see that M. Night Shyamalan movie? The one with about the mermaids?
No, but I do remember there was like a Dilbert comic about bowlers, and all of them had one big arm.
Just one very big arm? Okay.
But like, yeah, no, realistically, like, your arm should be about the same strength. You might have different dexterity, and talent, with fine motor skills on one arm than the other. But like, yeah, you should be able
to that's a good point. I'd say I'm like looking at my arms like they're not me somehow. But independently they can both lift, I think, the same amount. I have less coordination and dexterity with the left hand.
Yeah, arm wrestling is not about coordination.
Oh, now I have to go back and reread MPT3K, who says, George, feel free not to read anything I say in chat tonight. I had a tough day and about 2 drinks in. Oh, this is about to get good, I think.
Okay, well, before we read that, though, I do want to say, Manu, we love you, even if you're having a rough day, and I'm about to pull my 3rd drink, so, like, you know, GG, I don't know.
Cheers.
This is the whiskey being poured sound.
Heck yeah, more whiskey. In fact, I'm going to go to gin, I think, after this. Just straight gin. Also, over the top as a pinball machine. What are your thoughts there?
Over the top? Is that
That
like,
was the arm wrestling. I'm trying to think of his name right now. Sylvester Stallone was a...
culture thing that
Yes.
I missed.
You missed it.
I have blind spots too. I don't know what Over the Top is. I know what Over the Hedge is. I never saw the film, but it's like a Ben Folds scored film about squirrels or something. I don't know what Over the Top is.
Okay. Over the Top is a Sylvester Stallone 80s movie where he is, I think, a truck driver who's struggling to be a good father to his child. I don't know if they're divorced or his mom died, but he's basically trying to keep his kid... I almost said keep ownership. Keep custody of his kid, and to do so, it's tied to him arm wrestling, and it's very much like Rocky arm wrestles.
Okay, you know what? I gotta say, like, I don't know what Rocky arm wrestles is, but part of me is like, this sounds a lot like Face Off in terms of how absurd it is, and I would love a pin where you got both Cage and Travolta to do all the call-outs, and depending on which mode you're in, whether you're in Nicolas Cage mode or John Travolta mode, you know, all the different sounds swap out between, like, soundtrack 1 and soundtrack 2.
It's funny, you said Face Off, and immediately I wanted to be like, did you know that Face Off was based on the Iliad? Like, I'm trying to repeat back to you what you told me, or what you taught me immediately, because that's still mind-blowing to me that movie actually had some, like, literary depth to it. How awesome is that?
Well, but here's the thing, though, is if you're going to waste a lot of the studio's money, you really got to go back to the basics. You got to be like, we're going to do Romeo and Juliet, but with guns. Or we're going to do the Iliad.
Whoa! We need to take a step back there, Joe, because Romeo and Juliet from the 90s with Leonardo DiCaprio was amazing, right?
Oh, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, that's how you waste a lot of a studio's money.
Okay. Also,
I haven't seen a Shakespearean pinball table yet. But, like, also, like, I would love to design one. Here's the thing, though, George, is I am not anywhere near, like, competent or able to do that sort of thing yet. But, like, when I think about, like, when I retire from doing, like, YouTube and streaming at, like, 65 or 70, like, 30 years from now, I would love to have my second career being, like, doing stupid pinball machines.
Yes.
Like, give me 30 years to get there, because I'm not going to be able to do it competently now. And I have
you can get there faster. You can get there faster, and this is the perfect segue to bring it back in, because A, we've still got Sir Snarf and Tracy in the chat, and B, the P3 is a Unity-based pinball machine. The SDK is C# and Unity. How silly is that?
I know, and like, I was a professional developer before I became an entertainer.
Right.
So, like, yeah, like, there is a pathway back to this that isn't absurd, but, like, I also know, like, in order to, like, make my budget targets for the next year and a half to 3 years, like, this is not a short-term goal.
Yeah,
I need to focus on getting my entertainment business off the ground, and then, like, as a retirement project, come back to this stuff. Like, it's not going to happen soon.
Sir Starf, also, yes, because everyone knows I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, and I have all the Harry Potter tattoos. I get sent weird stuff about Harry Potter fairly often, and one of the ones I was sent recently, I think by my brother originally, was Harry Potter with guns. Also, there's some really, really good ones out there with Harry Potter. It is absolutely comedy gold, yes.
Did you ever watch the Harry Potter musical? I feel like we talked about this in one of our first calls on Voice, and I don't know if you ever got to it.
Is that the one that's done with Muppets?
No, it's a bunch of college kids in Minnesota, and there's a
No.
lot of snow and not a lot of anything else to do in Minnesota.
Subscribe to
And
Don't Panic Flip.
Ooh, we just got a sub.
You're
That's
paying your money.
Fliptronic
You're-
coming in super excited about Weird Al.
Millionaire.
Cheers.
I'm
You're
excited about Weird Al,
wasting
too.
your money watching someone else play pinball.
Watching someone else. Oh my God, Tracy. If you know Weird Al, you need to get one of those from Weird Al, right?
What fun is there in making sense?
Anyway, Fliptronic, my hat's
I
off
gotta
to you.
say,
Thank you.
every time I watch MP3K now that he's got Guardians in his garage or whatever,
Uh-huh.
like, I have a hard time voting for riffs because I'm just like, you know what? While we're in the theater, if I'm not actively riffing, I want to play Guardians. Like, I'm seeing him play Guardians, and he's so much better than me. And I understand why. It's because he practiced more for a long time. But
Right.
you know how you catch up? It's by practicing more right now, right?
I
you know,
love that mentality. I have to reiterate that to my daughter all the time. Like, it's gotten to the point where she's doing, yeah, Dad, it means practice. Like, that's when my kid, or if I hear anybody's kid say, I'm not good at that, I'm like, well, how do you get better? That's my immediate follow-up, practice. And my kid is trying to do 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes of piano practice a day, and she loves Lindsey Sterling. So my go-to is you, and I do this little eye thing with her. I'm like, do you think Lindsey Sterling got to where she is by just practicing for 15 minutes a day? No. And that's no, she probably puts, 4 or 5 hours in a day. I'm like, exactly. If that's the level you want to get to, you need to put in the effort. You have to practice. You have to get to that point. Natural ability gets you a little bit closer, but it's all it is a head start. You got to work towards that 10,000 hours if you want to hit that awesome, and that requires practice. So I love that sentiment.
Well, one of my friends came up with this idea. You know, there's this Einstein quote that says, doing the same thing over and over again is and expecting different results is the definition of madness. And one of my friends who loves like picking up new instruments and learning how to play them, he says, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of practice.
That's a really good comeback, because that's a really popular line, right? When somebody wants to call you out for something.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, with my kid, like, sometimes it's like, hey, look, I'm doing things that I'm really lucky I can do for a living as an entertainer. A lot of people cannot break even as an entertainer year over year.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, my dad went to school with Lady Gaga's dad, and he's always like, hey, Lady Gaga just bought her dad a restaurant. How's YouTube going? Can you buy me a restaurant? And I'm like, no, I can't. And you know what the difference is? He sent her to Juilliard, where she got a classical musical education, and I was in the public school system. Like, what do you want from me? Okay, like, so I can explain to my kid, like, look, if you work at something and you have people who are there to coach you and train you, you're gonna get better than somebody who just does it on their own. Now, they might do okay. You could still make a living doing this. There's guys up in Wisconsin who make a living playing accordion. They're no Weird Al, but they make $100,000 a year playing accordion, and you've never heard of them.
By the way,
that's $100,000 a year playing accordion. That's really good. That's stupidly good, right?
that is the accordion, right? It's like a piano on one side, and you have to do this while you're playing it.
Yeah, but like those people exist, and it's one of those things where it's like, look, you can go out there and you can make a good living doing all sorts of things in entertainment, but like, there's a huge difference between the person that practices 5 hours a day and has a professional coach and somebody who doesn't.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what, oh my God, something Gladwell, Marcus or
Malcolm
something,
Gladwell.
Sorry, Malcolm Gladwell, talks about with hockey in Canada. and how kids and there's consistency in professional hockey players all being born in something like it's like July, August, and September because of the date they're born and when the cutoff dates for school. They are physically the oldest in their classes when they start. So they have an extra year of physical development, which means that when they start at like 5 or 6 years old or however young, when there's like these rotating groups in Canada that go around and pick up kids basically and help decide whether or not they're going to be amazing. And if you can get it started early enough, they get into better schools, they get into better one-on-one teachers, and that training and that focus hits much, much earlier. So they hit that 10,000 hours much faster than the average person. Not that people outside of that window don't get into professional hockey. It's just there's some really great numbers that illustrate that point.
Well, and that's the thing is like having parents who are able to like connect their kids to opportunities. You know, so some kids happen to be born at the right time or in the right place. Some parents are able to get their kids the right coaches and whatnot. Like, you know, I don't know what my kid is going to want to do, you know, when she's a grown up. But like, it's one of those things where I want to structure my life where she'll have opportunities I didn't have because my dad wasn't Lady Gaga's dad. And I just made up everything as I went. But like, you know, it turns out it really helps if you have somebody like, you know, getting you into the right schools or getting you the right training from like the age of 13 or 15 or whatever.
Yep.
And, you know, so that's one of those things where like, you know, I tell my kid like, hey, there's no pressure. You can do whatever you want. But like, I travel all over the country and I do these events and I meet people. Like, you know, she's like, you know, her new thing, she's like, I want to do research on stuff for NASA because I like the pictures that come back from the telescopes. And I'm like, awesome. I meet a lot of people who work at NASA when I go to PAX and things like that. Like, this is something I can help you with. If you decide you want to do something else later, I'll help you with that instead. This is not me, like, slotting you in here and expecting you to do this forever. But, like,
right.
I have structured my life so I have connections my dad never had. And I want to help my kid in ways my dad could never help me, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I think that that's, like, arguably one of the things I'm most successful at. Like, even though it's not going to pay off for 20 years for her, like, you know, like, because, like, you know, my dad made a decent wage and made sure we had what we needed, and I'm making a decent wage and I'm making sure we have what we needed, you know, but, like, you know, what are the differentiators, you know? It's going out and meeting people, doing stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love hearing that. That's so freaking cool. Manu, are you a fan of Mr. Al? Manu is a fan of Weird Al. Also, somebody earlier said, you may be a fan of Weird Al, but have you checked out Unusual George? I thought that was funny. Weird Al George, that's the current topic. Yes, I'm familiar with the fact that the Weird Al is definitely the topic. We do. We'll go off on a tangent and then we'll circle back and find some segue that brings us back to P3 or whiskey.
Well, and that's the thing though, Fliptronic, is like we talked about Weird Al before. And so like we gotta like give it time to breathe. So the people who heard it an hour ago, they all went to bed. Now we can talk about it again and we're not retreading the same ground, you know?
Very good point. Also, I just realized that my phone's upstairs and I want to go make a gin and tonic, but I need the mobile cam. So you've got the comm for a second while I go grab my phone.
I have the con eye.
You've got the comm.
Yeah, so MPT3K says, Sir Snarf, if I send in my 1K deposit next month, how long do I have to come up with the rest? So that's obviously a question about the multimorphic, you know, delay between getting a reservation and getting a machine.
Ooh, I can help answer that a little bit. I know that I put my deposit back in at Expo, which was September last year, and I may get mine in May. So if that helps.
In some ways, that's actually really encouraging, knowing that there's a long lead time, because it's a lot easier for somebody like me to get $1,000 together than to get like the entire cost of a P3 together. You know?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, okay. So you're saying it's encouraging because there's a decent wait time. So you can put in that 1,000 now and basically know that you don't have to come up with it instantly, that you might have several months before that hits.
Well, yeah, because otherwise, like, I would want to wait until I had the whole amount.
Right. So
But like, I mean, honestly, like I said, like my main like YouTube series is on kind of hiatus right now, so it's a bad time for me to get $1,000. I'm not going to do that. But like, you know, Manu's in a very different situation than I am.
So I am trying to connect. Why is my IP address is off because I'm not on Wi-Fi. That explains why I can't get this camera to show up. Just bear with me a second. Sorry. Now,
it's fine. I'm just watching Bex yell at Fliptronic for NDA stuff.
Yeah. Don't cross the streams. All right. Now we're ready to go make a beverage. I should throw up the chat over here though. Be good. NDA. Yeah, and Frisco knows what he's talking about. I just realized I don't know if Frisco wants others to know what Frisco does. I don't know if I've ever heard Frisco talk about what he does for a living on stream, so I'm not going to say that. I don't know, can we see this over here? Close enough. This, by the way, is the greatest of gins. Monkey 47, I cannot recommend it enough. I just freaked out for a second because I thought, wow, I hope I'm not being too loud and waking up Zoe, but actually I am the only one here. Zoe is with her mom tonight, so I can be all the loud I want to be right now.
Well, there you go. Frisco Pinball says, I don't care. So here's the thing, is I assume Frisco Pinball, I'm like, I don't know, what do they make in Frisco, Texas? You know, maybe does Texas Instruments produce calculators out there? I mean, I don't know what Frisco Pinball does, but now I'm starting to think they maybe work on something pinball related, you know, the way you're talking.
Oh, no, Frisco, you should let the chat know what it is you do. Because I think it's really freaking cool. When I found out, I'm like, oh my god. I thought he was just kind of a pinball geek, but he's way cooler than a pinball geek. Like, his side hustle is a pinball geek.
Well, he says he's Weird Al, but I'm guessing that's not a side hustle.
Well, I'm not outing somebody on this, so... In the same way that I work for the government, I will not commit to what branch of the government I work for. I'm not outing others. Here we go. Making our way back over here. Von Craft, rating with a party of 1. You're amazing. Thank you. Why? Is it just... Okay. Did I miss something right there? No, okay. Don't know what that was all about. So I got to catch back up. He is my cousin Vinny. I want to be cool. Insanely. Oh, he is my cousin Vinny. Exactly. Yep. That's no joke. I'm also an insanely good sports betting analyst, right? Wow, that is a lot of gin.
I mean, like, you know, if you ever, like, drank the water out of the bottom of a Christmas tree, you know, pedestal. I mean, I'm just not a gin guy. I don't know. Like, every time I have it, I'm like, you know, there are other ways to see what a Christmas tree tastes like. You could eat the needles. Like, it's just not for me. I don't know. Give me some Tennessee whiskey and I'm good. But I'm just not a gin guy.
So, how many different gins have you tried? Just like standard gins?
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, you know, I've been to bars and somebody's like, oh, the gin here is really good. And I'm like, I'm not going to have one. I'm going to order something else. And they're like, try my gin. It's really good. And I'm like, it still tastes like a Christmas tree. Like, so I don't know how many different gins I've had. Probably 3 to 6. But maybe they're all from the same place because they all taste the same to me. I can't tell the difference.
Okay. When I come out by you, we're going to do a couple of gin tastings, and I'm going to tackle it the same way I fell in love with coffee, which is we're going to put so much sugar into the gin that you don't really taste it initially. And then
Okay, I mean, I like my coffee black, just like my metal. But you know what? I'm going to indulge you on this, George.
Okay.
You're my guest when you come to Tennessee.
So we're going to do a G&T with a splash of grenadine, right? And by splash, we're going to throw a decent amount into it. And we're going to call it a Dirty Temple. And we'll get ourselves Aviation Gin, which doesn't have any of the juniper flavor, right? It's just basically a smooth tasting alcohol that happens to, at that point, it will basically be a Dirty Temple. And that is your gateway. I feel like that's all everything needs is a gateway that works, and suddenly your mind and your mouth and your taste buds all can appreciate that flavor a little bit more than they used to, because I was in the same boat as you. And then I had to go gluten-free, so I started getting into the mixed drinks, and somebody made me a G&T, and like randomly, I'm like, I don't like G&Ts, throw some grenadine into it. And it came out, and it looked like a Shirley Temple. I'm like, I could drink that. I think it was maybe a mixture of already being drunk and the fact that it was also super sweet, but I love gin now. It's just, it went from, I can't stand it, to Aviation Gin actually works really, really well, to now I've branched out and I do all the weird gins with all of the crazy juniper, like it tastes like a Christmas tree. You nailed it on the head. I couldn't even describe it better than that.
You know, George, like, I am, to some degree, like, I've never tried a gin that didn't taste like a Christmas tree, and I'm really, like, unable to believe anything could be otherwise. However, I am one of those people, if you come here to my home and you want to suggest something as a treat, oh no, I dropped the telephone while gesturing.
Don't drop the telephone.
I know, you're not really supposed to do that. Oh my God, I have a rotary phone in my office. It's like one of those old 1950s Bell telephones. And my kid is like, why do you have this like old style cell phone? And I'm like, that's not what that is. Okay. Anyway.
Because everything's a cell phone. Why would you ever own anything that's not a cell phone?
Why would you have a phone that's not connected to a cellular network? You have to break these things into cells because otherwise it can't move evenly from tower to tower. But you know, anyway, that's fine. My point was, here's the thing, is like, if you come here and you want to suggest this, you have earned that right. By coming all the way here from Colorado, I will give you the benefit of the doubt on basically anything.
Okay,
You know
good,
what?
done.
I'm really going to go into this open-minded, although it's the sort of thing at the same time I can't imagine being open-minded about. I will give you the benefit of the doubt on this.
Okay, done. It's going to happen. I'm going to bring Aviation, or we're going to purchase it when I get out there, one of the two. Got to catch up on a few things here. First of all, Fliptronic says, George, I know you don't love Weird Al, but do you have a song you enjoy the most? I get the song White and Nerdy stuck in my head all the time, and we mentioned that earlier, and it's because Facebook knows me better than any person or human I know, which is really disappointing, actually. Do you, Joe, do you have a favorite Weird Al song?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, do you have a Facebook? Because I was going to go off on, like, no, Facebook is the worst ever. I had to work with their API when they first opened it up, and it was ruinous. I'm trying not to swear on your stream. Like, I don't swear a lot when I'm on people's stream. But, like, oh my gosh.
Hey,
like,
if you need to drop a swear to, like, illustrate the point, you do it.
They would make API changes at 7 o'clock on a Friday Pacific time. And I'm on Central time. And my boss is calling me on Saturday going, why is this broken? And I'm like, it wasn't broken when I left work. It shouldn't be broken now. Oh, good. They made an API change after I left. And, so basically, like, if you want to know why I don't trust Facebook, it's because I had to work with them and they're terrible. And I will never work with them again, or basically use anything they use. Like, I shut down my Instagram when they bought Instagram. Like, I don't have a Quest. I bought a Valve Index. And Manu keeps saying, every time I talk to Manu about VR, he's like, oh, you bought a Valve Index. That's a big spend, compared to the Quest. And I'm like, well, I didn't check how much the Quest cost because it was never an option for me.
Because it's Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, because it's Facebook. And I don't have, I don't even check. because why would I care about something I'm never gonna buy? How much it costs? Like,
Right.
So, okay, sorry. But
So
you
on
had
that
an actual
note,
question
you
that I
don't have a
ignored.
Facebook, but what is your favorite Weird Al song?
Oh boy, that's a hard one. Because he has a lot of good ones. Um,
That's also what she said, by the way.
you know,
Sorry, I don't throw
in
those out often, but it made sense at that moment.
No, that's fair. He has an amazing cover. Like he does all these great medleys, where he takes a bunch of modern pop songs at whatever era the album comes out at, and turns them into polkas. And he had a Bohemian Rhapsody polka that's really good. At the same time, like it, it's really hard to say that a parody of American Pie he did about Star Wars Episode One wasn't like super influential for me, because I really liked Star Wars when I was a kid, and I really liked Weird Al. That came out. That was a huge convergence. Also, I'm getting like a battery warning on my headphones, so I might need to go into like the next 10 minutes. But
Okay.
yeah.
You got to finish your whiskey in the next 10 minutes, and I will do my best to finish. Oh, wow. I'm feeling this drink. We need to finish our drinks in the next 10 minutes. It's also 12:30, so we are approaching, I think we're at last game of the stream. Maybe we try and make this all happen here. We've been
Yeah, I was
to...
gonna say, unlike you, I gotta get my kid to school in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
I don't. So I have my first meeting at 8:30. I will be waking up at 8:27, which leaves me just enough time to brush my teeth before making my way to the basement. Oh yeah, this is going to be a good game. I can definitely feel it. Dang, Manu, that's a nice mustache. I don't know. George, you missed this earlier, but you can put the metal ring off the Monkey 47 cork and wear it on your finger. Really? Second place, Andy. I did not see that. Also, I heard Weird Al Bohemian Rhapsody first, and when I heard Queen's version, I thought it was vastly inferior. Wow. That's...
I mean, Queen and Weird Al are very good at different things, but like, I mean, it's a pretty interesting Bohemian Rhapsody interpretation. Like, if you're gonna cover a song, like, that's a really good cover. Oh,
I don't know that I've heard
Yeah.
the Bohemian Rhapsody cover.
So now I'm thinking. So one of my stupid hobby projects when I have extra money is I came up with this idea for a fake genre, because I'm really into like definitions of things. And I came up with this idea for a genre that doesn't exist. But like, if I was writing like a sci-fi series that took place 25 years in the future, this would be like in the bars playing in the background type of genre, right? And,
Okay.
Are you familiar with Outlaw Country at all?
You mean from like Archer, when one of the main characters just keeps repeating the phrase outlaw country?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty close.
Okay.
Like, Outlaw Country was already a thing. They got it in Archer. But yeah, so and are you familiar with, like, the fact that ska has waves?
I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to be able to get there right now, and I'm going to blame the gin.
The joke is out ska country. What if the next wave of ska is outlaw country meets ska? So
Out ska lunch. Wait, what was it?
out ska country.
Out ska country.
So yeah, so one of my brothers is a musician, and whenever I get a little bit of extra money, I write these weird songs, and I pay him to record them in this thing that's kind of like, you know how ska is like punk with horns? Out ska country is like punk with harmonicas. And,
Okay.
Like I really, now that we're talking about this, I need to get him to do an out ska country version of Bohemian Rhapsody.
I just want you to know, Tracy is so upset that the Weird Al convo turned into a ska conversation.
I'm sorry, Tracy.
You know, Tracy can dial in at any time and like literally change the direction of the conversation.
Yeah.
Please continue. I totally interrupted. I'm so sorry. don't.
No,
Sorry.
that was 100% of it. Is I was like, I need to get a few $100 to get this fucking pay my brother to make an Outscott Country version of Bohemian Rhapsody. Because won't Bohemian Rhapsody be like if it was ska but with harmonicas instead of horns? No one knows.
Okay. And
It's on me. I'm the only one who can fund this. He's not going to do it on his own, you know. So
Right.
I need to work harder. Clearly.
Oh my god. That to me is like the most amazing justification for sorry, what's the form of government that has to do with just making money? I am really struggling with words right now.
Capitalism?
Thank you. Yes, that's the best justification for capitalism I think I've ever heard.
No, but here's the thing though, George, is this comes back to Orbiter 1, where we were talking about like you take a certain amount of your money and just spend it on weird stuff that you don't
I'm sorry,
know
can we just all appreciate the fact that when I said that, your response was, no, this all comes back to Orbiter 1 of all things.
Well, no, but this is, like, I take a certain amount of my income, and I say, I'm going to give this to my brother to make weird music that wouldn't exist otherwise. Because
I agree.
Like
I'm all for harmonica ska.
Should be is making stuff that doesn't exist otherwise.
I love it. I love it.
Electronic says Orbiter 1 is a parody of pinball. Yeah, well, Outscott Country is a parody of music, and we're making as much of it as I can afford.
Ooh, I got a thingy.
Ooh,
Dude, I got a soul shard. That was awesome. All right, so in this game, every time you complete a mode, you light a soul shard. And I think it gets multiplied maybe for each prior soul shard you got. I don't actually know any of the rules around soul shards. Sir Snarf, that's communism. I like that. So Orbiter 1 is a parody of pinball. I can agree with that. The words just roll off the tongue. Tracy, I have dressed as Weird Al on multiple occasions. Oh my God, Tracy, by the way, I saw your post on Facebook. That was amazing. Tracy did an entire photo shoot as like sexy Weird Al.
Okay, you're not gonna sell me on Facebook no matter how awesome.
I am so no. This is worth going to Facebook for. Like, Tracy, you nailed it.
Do it. Like, I mean, this is a really good hard sell. Like, you're putting in the effort, and I appreciate it.
Oh my God, Tracy, that's not even all of them. Tracy, how do I get the rest of them? Okay, stay off Facebook. I'm sorry. I'm like not even paying attention to the pinball right now. I just want to know how we can get the full photo shoot. Oh, right. DPF, check out the OnlyFans account. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of gin in that. Did you guys actually see me pour the gin in there? Are we talking capitalism again?
Well, I mean, in fairness, George, I'm literally drinking whiskey with ice in it. So, like, I mean, there's not a lot of question of, like, how is Joe mixing these drinks? I'm not.
There's no mixing. Oh my God, this is the night, right? Because Manu was 2 drinks in earlier. I'm assuming, Manu, you're 3 drinks in at this point. I think you're at, I've heard you refill twice. I'm thinking, Joe, you're on your 3rd drink. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I'm, well, here's the thing too, is like, if you measure drinks as like, well, that's 1 shot or that's a double or whatever. Like, I'm just putting whiskey in the glass and adding ice. Like, I'm not measuring how many shots of whiskey are in the glass. Yeah, you know.
Right. Yeah, you're not legitimately measuring or anything, which is fine because I don't.
I'm not a bartender. So like, so my girlfriend actually like was a trained bartender who got certified in the United Kingdom, and like, at one point she was just like, I don't think you're mixing these things accurately, and I'm like, why would I? This is what tastes good.
I am in the same boat. Okay, here. No, that's a really good question for people. Who here actually measures their alcohol? Oh my God, just stop. Because I just eyeball it, right? But does anybody actually measure off things?
No, I just eyeball it. No, and it's funny because like after having this conversation with my girlfriend, I was talking to my brother. I was like, yeah, so like it turns out this is like a triple, and I thought this was like a shot, and he's like, oh, I thought that was a shot too. Okay, but like maybe we're all just drinking more than we realize all the time. Like, I mean, like, okay, like, what do we do with that information?
Nothing. We don't address it. It's not a problem. It's only a problem if you think it's a problem.
Well, because the thing is, like, yeah, if you're a bartender and you're selling somebody else's alcohol, yeah, you need to like have some sort of quality control. Like, here's how much we're dispensing at any given point. But like, I don't know, it's my house. If I just put this much in the glass, put an ice cube in it, it's my house.
Yeah. I like that rule, but second place Andy asks a really good question. Does measuring in fingers count? Because I don't even measure in fingers.
Well, but that depends on like if the glasses are a consistent like shape or size. Like, I don't bother with that.
Oh,
like,
that's a really good point. If the cup is a different volume, the fingers doesn't help, right?
Yeah. So, like, my general idea was, if I make a Jack and Coke, a third of the glass is Jack, 2/3 is Coke, right? And so, like, if I'm just having a whiskey on the rocks, a third of the glass is whiskey, and then I put an ice cube in it. I don't know. Like, that's not something that's important to me to measure, because, like, I'm not a business that dispenses alcohol, and why would I act like I was? That sounds like more work. I don't, like, it's weird because I do all sorts of weird stuff to do things. And people assume, like, Joe, you like doing work. And I'm like, no, I like making things. I'm not going to do extra work. Measuring stuff is extra work. Making things is making things. I don't know.
I didn't just have this thought. I've had it a few other times, but you got there faster than I did. And it wasn't just the alcohol. I'm zoomed in here. It's just me. And Joe, I think you're one of the smart people. And I mean this in the best way possible. Like the horsepower in which your brain runs, like just knowing that if you measure by fingers, that that is obviously dependent upon the volume of the cup. It's just one of those dependency things that I get to eventually, but it's usually minutes later. In the same way that I often find myself missing jokes until I'm in the shower, like the next day replaying things, and I'm like, oh my God, that person was being sarcastic or funny, and that was a hilarious joke, and I missed it completely. So, yeah. Thank you for being on the show. You're increasing, I feel like, the average. I don't know what to call that, right? It's not the average intelligence, right? Because everybody still views the show, but you're like setting a higher bar, maybe for more heady humor or enjoyment in general. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, George, I am glad that you appreciate having me here because I like being here.
Cool.
But also, I'm just some idiot who fumbles around and says dumb stuff and figures out what works, and I do random stuff and I figure out what works. So I feel like my commitment to not measuring things is really in line with that. Just like, it's a lot of effort for somebody else, Like,
well, and Devin Crates is suggesting getting one of those science-y things that does the droplets to get as accurate as possible. That's a lot of effort, right?
That's called a pipette, and I'm not going to do that.
Okay, a pipette, exactly, yes. Or a micro pipette, even. Second place Andy, like, wants to measure the alcohol per drop.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, I mean, here's the thing, is like, George, I'm just happy to be here because, I did my stream earlier, and like, when I'm doing my stream, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of effort, and you know what? This is just me palling around.
Right. Hopefully you feel no pressure. No pressure at
I
all,
feel
right?
No pressure.
Okay,
I feel
good.
no pressure when I'm hanging out with you. This is just me palling around, having a good time, and like this is me winding down for the night. I mute when I'm like cleaning things around the apartment. I'm getting the chores that I need to do because once again, I'm a single parent. I have chores I have to get done, or the apartment isn't sanitary. Right? I have to
Right.
clean the kitchen. I have to get laundry moved along. Like, I can't go to bed at the end of the night until all that stuff is done.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? My headphones, though, the batteries are dying. Like, one of them just died.
Okay.
So I should call it a night. But, George, I really appreciate you having me. This is always a genuine, positive experience for me. I love hanging out, and I hope you have a fantastic evening.
Joe Hills, thank you so much for hanging out this evening. You guys, if you are not already following Joe Hills, you should be. Twitch.tv/Joe Hills, or go check him out on Twitter. He is very active on Twitter. Additionally, YouTube. Joe Hills across the board. He is absolutely fantastic, as you can hear/see, enjoy, and be a part of this evening. So definitely give a follow. If not, go do the donations thing. Check him out early in the morning. As much as I love tuning into your late night streams, I gotta say, Joe, it's the early morning craft that you do, which is my absolute favorite. I'm typically just kind of hanging back and listening to you and whomever you have in on your stream. Who's the streamer you typically have in on those
Zombie
streams?
Cleo usually
Zombie
joins me
Cleo.
on Wednesday mornings.
Yes.
And yeah, she's been a friend of mine for a decade, or actually probably 12 years now. Oh my God, it's crazy how long like I've been doing a lot of the things I've been doing. But yeah, I'm really lucky to have made so many cool friends. Just like going out and making things. Anybody out there who's like, I don't know if I should go make things, just try it. And like a third of what you try is going to completely just fail, and be cool with that. Like the other stuff, some of it will work, Keep going.
That's also, by the way, a huge part. I don't want to keep you on here any longer, and your headphones are going to die. But that is a huge thing I've been pushing with Zoe recently, is how okay it is to fail. Don't freak out if you don't do it right the first time, or the second time, or the third time. Like, as long as you're pulling something from it and using that to try and get better. I've been pushing that all over the place. I've even been pushing that in the government. Like, it's gone back to work-related stuff, and now in my daily stand-ups, there's reminders that it's okay to push code that fails. It's fine. That's why we have PRs. That's why we have all these gating and regression tests and unit tests and all these things. It's fine. Don't feel like you're being cornered or pushed or singled out if you have a mistake, because mistakes happen. It's fine. It's a part of development. And anyway, so.
Well, I really hope my headphones are still working, because I gotta say, one of the things I love about having the pinball machine in my apartment is teaching my kid that sometimes the ball just goes in the outlane. Sometimes things just fail. And what's most important is that you handle your next two balls better than the person who gets frustrated by that failure.
Yes. Well said. So well said.
Everybody has a bad day, and it's how you handle your next day and the day after. It's what makes you a winner. And we talk a lot about that. She started watching pinball streams with me, and we talk about how tournaments went and stuff like that. And there are just some tournaments where everybody has a bad ball one, and it's like, look, we got to go into this and say, I had a bad ball one. That's okay, because I'm going to have a better ball two than those other people. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to come in with a positive attitude. But anyway, you're trying to let me go. My headphones are telling me to shut up. I appreciate you, George. Have a great night.
Joe, have a great night, man. Looking forward to seeing you. Talk to you soon.
Catch
All
you
right,
later.
bye.
Bye.
So, Sir Snarf says, isn't that agile? It's a little bit different. Not that agile is the definition of, which, by the way, this comes up all the time, right? Especially in government work, when it's all about like changing priorities. Agile is oftentimes about making sure that what you provide back to the customer something demonstrable, testable, and functional within a 2-week period, right? Like your goal is to a little bit of Scrum, a little bit of Agile, but it's provide the most basic set of functionality back to the user, allow them to test it, because here's the gist in software. Nobody in software knows what they actually want. There are people who have a pretty good idea of what they want, but once they actually start, MPT3K, we're not ignoring you. I'm going to go back and read everything that you said. Maybe not. I just went back and reread what you said. But agile is about taking what the customer thinks they want and getting something back to them as soon as possible, right? And this comes back to software development and allowing them to actually see what it is they asked for, right? In the smallest, there's this concept of MVP, which is called minimum viable product. It's that something like, I asked for this and it's going to take 6 iterations to get there. And this is the core set, right? Like this is the bare minimum that achieves whatever that goal is. And that's what you want to provide back. Because the customer is asking for A. What they don't know is that the customer actually needs, in order to make their business successful, is E. But you want to get them back A with the least amount of effort possible. So they look at A and say, actually, let's try this. Then we try B. B, nope, nobody liked that. C is actually pretty dang close. Let's get this in front of the customers. Great, so C makes it to UAT. And now UAT tests it and they have a bunch of issues with it. And the feedback actually changes the direction the product goes. Now we're at D. D says, okay, we're so much closer to what we actually need. The customer used it. They said, actually, they got really close, but at the end they had this issue. Now we want this to happen. Now we're at E, right? And what we do is provide E, and suddenly the customer is happy. And we release E, right? And each of those is individual releases if you're using true CI/CD, but that's part of the agile process. It's really about getting back to the people who requested things, this concept of like, what can I get back to you the quickest? So that way you can tell me what needs to change, because nobody knows before they actually start working with a software developer or in the software what it is they actually want, which is so weird when you're working in government because that concept is really muddled, right? It's hard to tell the government that, hey, I know you just signed this bill, right? That goes, thank you, my phone, for listening to what I'm saying and saying you don't know what I want, but it's good. Cancel whatever you're doing. I gotta catch up on chat here. I totally lost my train of thought, but that's the gin talking. Hey, Rocket Man, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm lucky my boss stands up for me. Hey, Rocket Man, I don't know who you are, but I'm imagining you're in some sort of a software group. And somebody is basically standing up for you. Yeah, that's how that works, right? Like anyone who's above you is ultimately responsible for the work that you do. And in software, that means I have the responsibility for, I have like 13, no, I have 7 direct reports. I'm responsible for the development for, it's like 28 people, but at the same time, I'm involved architecturally for roughly about 200 plus people's worth of development, but I'm not the architect, thankfully. Thankfully, that is another person who is never going to watch this stream and is amazing. I absolutely love working with them, but they're responsible for the architecture of the government entity that I work for and all of the software that they do. But I have those conversations with them and I get pulled into other conversations. So I have input without being ultimately responsible, if that makes sense, which is really nice. Totally getting sidetracked here. Hey, Clyde. Oh, that was the call being ended. That totally explains that. Sir Snarf, great. Nope. That is the wrong button I just pressed seconds second place, Andy. Thank you so much for redeeming that video. I've got my headphones on still right now, but nobody's in the chat to talk with me, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. It's AOL, you've got mail. This is just reminding me of a terrible system. Tracy. Oh my God, I love that. That is my favorite redemption by far. Careful. All right, we got a double danger there. That's totally fine. That makes me think of the box of the Switch, that when you switch it, ARM reaches out and unswitches it. The system could have just been a web form. Yeah. It can always just be a web form in the same way that most meetings could probably just be an email. Oh man, it feels good to be on the other side of this. MPC3K, I hope this is great conversation, right? Like, we were talking about agile and software development. Comedy happens in threes. So it doesn't just happen to be no one likes hearing a dev talk. Oh, wow. Hot dog. Blood Grinks, thank you. Hot Dog also redeeming the Screaming Sun. Whoo! I'm gonna let you know right now that the ball is moving faster than my eyes can keep up with it. This gin, whoo, very good. Did I tell you guys that Monkey 47 was my favorite gym? Okay, so I talked to the maintenance department, and it's like, when things work, who cares? And when things go wrong, why isn't it working right effing now? No one likes hearing a dev talk. Split Greg, MPT3K. Okay. Sir Snarf, thank you. Hopefully that's not too loud. I did turn the volume down. Alex, I'm looking forward to seeing you again at TPF. I will be there. I will be there likely with all of the other people. Really looking forward to it. I'm so sorry. We really need to finish this. There's that. Wait, you laugh at that and don't like airplane, head scratch. What was the airplane? I'm sorry. Oh, and the fact that I don't like airplane. I got it. Wow. Hey, are these pinballs moving too fast for anyone else? I had 2 shots there at the super jackpot and I missed both, darn it. All right, we're gonna do this. That worked out really. Skinny Twilight Zone? Wait a second. I'm a software. Okay, Spludgrank says, I'm a software engineer, but work on the testing side. So when I get into how I write software to break other software, people check out pretty quickly. Hey, Spludgranks, I'm right there with you. I help manage a team of like 20 plus QA. And I am the dev lead for the entire back end for all of the back end work for a pretty big section of the government. And we had today off of work, and there was a double drain. That was wonderful. Hey, Manu, have a great night. I'm gonna hit the reset button, wake up tomorrow, and start all over again. Good night. Manu, have a great night. I am looking forward to hanging out with you at at TPF. There's too many acronyms, apparently. TPF is going to be amazing, and that's all I got to say about that. Nice shot. Night, Manu. Hope your day is better, says Tracy from Outer Spacey. Insanity Falls, welcome to the stream. Skinny Twilight Zone for Daisy Gatson Bates Day. That I'm not familiar with. Also, I think we've exceeded the standard 2-hour window. It is now 1 o'clock. Frisco, have a great night. Thank you so much for the raid earlier. And let's just add to all of that this is definitely the last ball of the evening. All right, left ramp. Nope. Right ramp to left ramp. Nope. Can we hit this left ramp? Found it. And nope. Yep. All right, Insanity Falls, giving me the I feel like backup needed in order to attempt to try and be successful. That didn't happen. You know what? Thank you everyone so much for hanging out this evening. There was entirely too much gin in this last drink. We'll be taking, I think, at least 2 Excedrin and maybe 4 Advil. I'm gonna have to go out to the car because I ran out of Advil last night. I bought Advil with acetaminophen this afternoon when I went to Walgreens. I think it's, yeah. I think you're successful. I could jump on VC and keep this going for 3 more hours. Tracy, anytime, yes, yeah, yep, we could, please don't take Advil. Oh my God, Rocket Man, why wouldn't I take Advil right now? I'm just trying to stave off having any kind of a hangover tomorrow. I need to be up at 8:30. I have an 8:30 production issue review meeting tomorrow that I need to be prepared for. And I'm in Mountain Time, so that is exactly 7 hours and 27 minutes from this particular moment. George, top 5 weird animals. Number 1, the narwhal. Narwhal. Number 2, the thing with the weird giant scales. I have an emote. What's it called? This thing here. Whatever that is called. Pangolin. Thank you, Queen Dark Lady. Yes, Tracy also, pangolin. So narwhal, then pangolin. By the way, I pinged sorry, who's the Zombie Yeti? I asked if Zombie Yeti was interested in doing. I know you're busy. You're super busy. At no point would you ever think about taking requests from stupid people like myself. But in the off chance you do take silly requests from stupid people, if you would ever, perchance, and I got a response back from Zombie Yeti saying, hey, let me know what it is you want, and if it ever shows up, like if I ever have a gap in time, I would absolutely love to do something, and I would let you know. So I asked for a vaporwave style narwhal, and it from yeah, George self-talk. Stop it. We'll see if that ever happens. I know Jeremy Packer, aka Zombie Yeti, is like an artistic hero for me. It's basically I know that I could never get Todd McFarlane, right? Who did the majority of all of my favorite comics, which was like the reset on Spider-Man. And was it Amazing Spider-Man or just Spider-Man? I think it was just Spider-Man. And then Spawn, of course. So Zombie Yeti is basically like what is in pinball and achievable in terms of like Todd McFarlane style art. So Insanity Falls says, yo, I didn't know narwhals were real until well into my 30s. Insanity Falls, I didn't know that pangolins and narwhals were even animals until it's a water unicorn, Tracy, absolutely. Until my now 8-year-old, who at the time was, I think, 4 or 5, we bought a book series called Narwhal and Jellyfish. And we learned all about narwhals in comic book form with this great story about narwhal and jellyfish, who were decided to be really good friends together. It was awesome. They are the Jedi of the sea, or the unicorn of the sea, however you want to say that. They are amazing. They are real, and then reinforced during, I don't remember the name of the cartoon series. It's fantastic. It's on Netflix. But they have an entire episode about narwhals and how it's actually, it's usually off-centered, their horn, but it's not a horn. It's actually a tooth. Mind-blowing. Narwhals, the what seemingly is a horn and why we call them the unicorn of the sea, is actually a tooth, and they use that tooth to feel out ice. And they use it in the same way that we use to chew things. Well, they also use it to feel out ice because they are mammals and need air, so they feel out holes or spots in the ice that they can poke through and end up grabbing air through the ice, if I remember correctly from some of the shows that my kid watched. Anyway, catching up, Drunken Eyes telling this sweet story. Insanity Falls, it's not me, it's the gin's fault. We put way too much gin in this drink. They stopped Cthulhu eating me. What a lovely fella. Insanity Falls, it's not a tumor. Game Club Central, welcome to the stream. I just learned about the mantis shrimp. Did you know it punches its prey so hard, it would be like if we punched through steel. It can lacerate humans. They can punch and crack aquarium glass. The punch is so viciously it boils the water that is caught in the punch stream. By the way, learned about the mantis shrimp from a Netflix television show about superpowers based on animals. Holy sheet, exclamation point to subscribe. By the way, Tracy from Outer Spacey, who is usually on this stream on Monday nights, is also a streamer. There's a bunch of streamers out here on the stream this evening. You should follow all of them, but Tracy from Outer Spacey has streamed, I think, 2 times in the past week at least, if not more. A mixture of games, and when Tracy has access to a pinball machine, streams pinball. But otherwise, games, just chatting, cooking, a mixture of other fun things. definitely give Tracy a follow. Game Club, that's the gin. Game Club Central, also another awesome streamer. If you haven't followed, you should do so. Does VR gaming. Kisco, oh my God, Kisco. Do you have any idea how late it is, Kisco? It's very late. You shouldn't be here. But Kisco also streams. Kisco, I did not make it to the Beast. I did make it to Number of the Beast, I think 3 times. I don't know. It was a lot of gin. Things got really silly at the end. I don't even feel like we were playing actual pinball. I did not get there. I'm so sorry. Have yet to try it. Only saw Jack play it very briefly. Try not to stream multiple times late at night. Otherwise, call your doctor. I'm going to start Creature in the Well soon. I don't know what that is. That sounds disgusting. I'm hoping it's a video game. Where's the Mantis Shrimp pinball machine? Their eyes can detect cancer? What? Hold on. Wait, then what the F are they? The shrimp are deadly. The mantis shrimp also see well into ultraviolet and can detect linearly and circularly polarized light. That's crazy. Insanity Falls, Wii is the royal Wii, by the way. I don't know why. I use Wii instead of I. It's a habit I got into the first time I had a team of developers I worked with. Rather than ever say I started defaulting to we because I never wanted what I said to come off as though I had done something. I always wanted it to be referencing we. And for whatever reason, I have never stopped doing that. So even when I'm talking about things, when I say we, evidently I could be meaning the people who were talking. I could also be thinking about the chat in general as we're conversing. Rocket Man saying like, yep, good gin, totally. I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead and end the stream here and move on, and we'll raid somebody worthy of actually showing off the pinball. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you all later. Thank you.
Have you been inundated with ads and questions related to TPN's now famous homemade pinball pudding line of puddings? Questions like,
TPN's pinball pudding is so good, it must be illegal, right?
What the fuck is pinball pudding?
How can a collection of content creators also be a pudding? That makes no sense.
And we hear you. You want to know what makes TPN so special? The answer is in TPN's secret ingredient. Simply proof. Other puddings may say they have it too, but watch as they're unable to back those statements up.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Do we have evidence of that?
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Evidence? Evidence?
Richard, do I have a mark on my face? Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
That's evidence.
We built this city on rock and roll.
Again, request for more evidence.
You can't handle the truth.
Do we have evidence of that?
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
Evidence?
SOT TDI clean diesel with up to 814 highway miles per tank.
Do we have evidence of that? Evidence?
Isn't it time you gave TPN's famous homemade pinball pudding line of puddings a try? And check your local retailers for these amazing original and fantastic new flavors from TPN's famous homemade pinball pudding line of puddings. You asked and we listened. Each TPN pinball pudding package is packed with our special ingredient. The proof is truly in the pudding.